Hey, welcome to Car House. This is the Three Pedals podcast. We have Mike and Dan as usual, and we have Ben Jensen here as our guest. We got a callback from last week. We had two questions, one from Urban Pirate. He wanted to know if Tim's Bay is the only thing that's shaved. And a question from Shane for Tim asking what his unlimited budget car would be, and he said it was a 79 Trans Am.
Hell yeah.
So we already knew the answer to that. So, and then news.
All right, I'll jump into this one. So I figured since I work at Volkswagen, I would do a short VW, Audi, Porsche news segment every couple weeks if, but right now the news isn't so good. Obviously, if you've read anything in the news recently, Volkswagen Group is reportedly planning major restructuring that includes tens of thousands of job cuts by 2030. So they're not doing very well, mostly due to tariffs and is it BYD in China?
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's probably the big investment they had in EV
Right.
that they're now dropping
Yes.
off because no one can keep up with the
So
Chinese companies.
people would be surprised to hear
Straight on.
that their market share, their largest market share was actually China. So now that BYD is making these affordable electric cars that are really actually good cars, they've lost a lot of their sales in China. So that with the tariffs, so in other news, also Porsche profits have tanked. I don't know if you've read that, which is terrible. They froze the Cayman to make it fully electric, and then the battery manufacturer was these lightweight cells because they wanted to make sure that the car was still nimble. They didn't want it to be this heavy electric car. But the battery manufacturer, which they put all their eggs in one basket on, it went bankrupt. So now they're scrambling. And that was a popular model, obviously, because the 911s are so expensive. And then obviously they've been trying to develop the new EVs, but it's been kind of weak in the US because some people want EVs, I guess, but some people don't. And Porsche enthusiasts
still want your good old V8 motor.
Yeah, so I think they're in good news is that it looks like Porsche, Audi, Volkswagen will probably still push EVs, but they're going to roll it back a little and go more towards hybrids. And there is talks that they may potentially start building cars, Porsche, in the US. I don't know if they're going to be utilizing Chattanooga, Tennessee, where they build the Atlas and the ID4. But there's serious talks about it.
Well, the problem is Volkswagen's always been behind the curve. Like,
yes.
If you look at competitors in the segment, right? So you take the Tiguan, for example. Everybody has a hybrid option, whether it be Toyota, whether it be Honda, Hyundai, Kia. And here we are still, we get the redesigned Tiguan. They've got the 1.5 hybrid in Europe, but we don't have it in the US.
Right.
They just ended up doubling down on EVs.
Right. And anyone that's ever talked to me about the ID Buzz, obviously, that was it was just buzz, it was just noise because the car ended up coming out way later than it should have. The range was poor. Yeah. Very cool.
What was actually the range?
It was like 300 miles or something or less.
I think that.
I drove it.
The Mini's 110.
Yeah.
It's
maybe
shit.
Yeah, but these things are $75,000.
Yeah.
So at one point, they dropped in price because dealers couldn't sell them. But why not make it a hybrid? Like, if you look at every enthusiast that has a VW bus or had a VW bus, those people who might still have an old Beetle or an old bus still, they want something they can put their family in, but they don't want to spend $75,000. And they also probably want to go camping, go on road trips. I can appreciate and respect the electrification, but let's have some options.
The thing is if they threw the Gen 4 engine in it, with 4Motion,
right,
that would have opened up the market because you would have had people who were potentially minivan shopping, if you will. Arguably, it's cooler than a Honda Odyssey.
They look cool. They're awesome. The center console is actually a cooler that you can remove out of the car,
That's
which is
awesome.
really neat. And if you've ever been in one, they're pretty fast. Like they're pretty zippy. So I think they failed to deliver, like, and it's just been kind of sad to see that, because I really thought that and also the Beetle, I feel like they could definitely do something with the Beetle. But as far as Porsche, I don't know how they just made some really bad decisions, it looks like. So hopefully, they've almost gone out of business a couple of times in the history. They almost scrapped the 911 at one point. They wanted to push the 928s and the 944s. And then, the 944 was like, it was an affordable car that, a lot of people bought, which was great. And it kind of bailed them out. But it was actually the engineers that said, no, we're not scrapping the 911. We're going to keep updating it. And now look at it.
Yeah.
Last year, I think I read their profits. I'll have to come back to this, but their profits tanked.
Yeah, didn't they lose like $811 billion
it was
or something
ridiculous.
like that? It was something insane.
Like they were the most profitable auto manufacturer, and then basically this last year was the worst they've ever done, I think.
Wow.
Well, maybe not historically, but in recent history,
Yeah.
especially since their most recent success. But the other good news is Audi seems to have a competitive car for Formula One, which is cool. Nico Hülkenberg, he was what was it? No, it was his teammate there last race in Melbourne, right?
Bortoletto.
Yeah,
Bortoletto got points last weekend.
Yep. In their first race in Formula One, which is impressive, because if you look at Cadillac has been,
which we
not competitive,
kind
obviously.
of expected with them being like a completely grassroots team, whereas Audi picked up where Sauber left off.
Yep.
So they still had a lot of the same personnel and stuff like that, whereas with Cadillac, you're basically in a whole new outfit. So honestly, the fact that I think it was Bottas out-qualified Alonso.
Yep. Which is
in China today.
Yep.
Was
Aston Martin.
Somewhat impressive.
Yeah. Yep.
Somewhat impressive.
Yeah.
But
did you want to lead in with some Formula One? So me and Mike were talking about it, and I know some of the listeners probably might be getting into Formula One, or a lot of people in the US, it's been more popular now.
Yeah, the Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive is super entertaining to watch. If you know nothing about Formula One, it's a good way to jump into it. But there's this morning we watched the Chinese Grand Prix. It was a good race, but they've made a lot of different regulations on the cars this year, so the teams have been mixed up. There's a lot of differences compared to last year. So we were just talking about sprint qualifying, and we was going to ask Mike if he could explain a little bit how sprint qualifying works compared to your standard qualifying before a race.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess just to kind of preface it a little bit, so 2026 this year for F1, completely new cars, completely new regulations. This year they switched to 50-50 battery and engine power. You've got a couple new teams on the grid, as we were just talking about a little bit earlier. You have Audi that took over the Sauber operation, and then Cadillac finally made their entry into F1 with kind of arguably probably the two best number 2 drivers with Bottas and Perez.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So it's cool.
Bottas didn't have a seat last year. He was a reserve driver.
Yeah, he was a reserve for Mercedes.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's cool to see kind of some old faces back in, and then obviously having a new team, which is really cool. There was also some change-ups in the field regarding who's using power units, like Alpine now, instead of using Alpine Renault power, they're using Mercedes power, which is arguably probably the best choice for this year. But
not for McLaren.
Yeah, not for McLaren. Yeah, not for their customers, but for Mercedes, yes.
Yeah, McLaren did not start either of their racers, Lando Norris or
what happened?
Oscar Piastri. Yeah. They had electrical issues with their Mercedes power plants.
Separate issues with the cars
so each car had its own.
Norris didn't even make it to the grid. Piastri got rolled off the grid,
which is terrible because that team won the constructors championship last year, and Lando Norris won the drivers championship. Yeah. So to not start the second race is pretty bad for points.
Well, there's a big change up. I mean, you even look at Verstappen now. Yep. I mean,
yeah, I know. What did he place?
Haas is ahead of Verstappen. Retired
6th. Oh, did he?
Yeah, they had to retire the car. He had a complete cutout. It was later in the race. I want to say it was probably lap like 35 or 40 or something like that. But But yeah, so he's out out of this race. But I mean, even at that, like in the constructor points tally right now, I mean, Haas is ahead of
It's crazy.
Red Bull.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Good to see.
But I like to see that because
Yeah.
Behrman is killing it.
Yep.
But anyway, so when it comes to sprint weekends, so it's a little different. So like normally on a regular race weekend, you'll have practice 1, practice 2 on Friday, practice 3, race qualifying on Saturday, and then obviously the race on Sunday. So in a sprint weekend, what you'll do, so like this weekend in China, drivers only have 1 practice session on Friday morning. And then right after that practice session, you go into sprint qualifying. So sprint qualifying, same format as regular race qualifying, just shortened time periods. I can't remember the exact cutoff of the times.
15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, so like Q3 or SQ3 for sprint qualifying. I think in the regular qualifying format, it's like 12 minutes or something like that, where in sprint qualifying, it's only 8 minutes. So you'll have that. It's same format in the sense of now that there's 22 drivers on the grid. After Q1, 6 drivers get eliminated. After Q2, the slowest 6 get eliminated, and then you have your top 10 shootout.
Oh wow!
After that, so qualifying for the sprint race is solely qualifying for the sprint race.
Right.
Sprint race is usually, if I remember exactly, I think it's a third of the race distance. You can pit if you want. You don't have to, unlike in a regular race where you do have to pit at least once. But it adds a little bit of excitement. I mean, there are points up for grabs, so it's not the same points tally that there is in a regular race. So in sprint, it's positions 1 through 8. You know, first place will get 8 points, 7.6 points, so on and so forth. If you're in the top 10, if you're in 9 or 10th in the sprint race, you don't get any points, unlike you would in a normal race format. But then, you know, it's high stakes because you think about it, you have 1 practice session, you have the qualifying, then you have the sprint race. Right after the sprint race, you then have the race qualifying. So basically, if you royally screw up in the sprint race, you've pretty much taken yourself out of qualifying for the regular race, which obviously sucks for that driver if they do that. But, you know, on that weekend, race qualifying is the same format as it always is. I think it's like Q3 is, I think it goes 18 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 minutes. And then you get your grid for the race. But this year just very different with the new regulations. They kind of talk to it as like, you know, yo-yo racing,
right?
Just because with all the battery power and battery clipping, I mean, you know, a driver will be going down, you know, a back straight or something like that, hitting 210, 215 miles an hour. And then the battery will start clipping before the braking zone. And when they hit the braking zone, they've already lost 20, 25 miles an hour of speed. So it's a lot about battery management. Some drivers are adapting quickly, arguably kind of the younger crew, unless you have a dominant car like the Mercedes or Ferraris right now. But then you've got people like Verstappen, who's like ready to probably throw in the towel right now. And
he's compared. I think he's compared it to Formula E, and was not happy about it. And clearly, their car hasn't been great. But,
no, so we'll be curious to see kind of what the rest of the season looks like in that sense. But
good. Should we? Well, it's Tuesday when we release the podcast. People, we're not going to spoil. We're not spoiling the race. Everyone's going to know the results.
And if you haven't watched it, then
but yeah, 19-year-old won.
Yeah, Kimi Antonelli
for Mercedes, and he is. I mean, he's fast as hell, and he's super cool, like super chill. Like they interviewed. I watched the pre-interview with him, and he's just like, yeah, you know, we're just trying to. Just race the car, 215. And my favorite part is like when you watch Formula One on TV and you're like, oh, wow, it's like, you know, it's like any racing. Sometimes if you look away, you're not always like in it, right? Because you're not racing the car. So it's easy to just kind of get jaded by how fast they are actually going and how quick the reaction times are.
To put it in perspective, I mean, what was it, 2021? You, me, Shauna, and Kim went to
Coda.
We went to Coda for the race, and we were sitting corners 3, 4, 5, 6 in the S curves.
Yeah.
And, you know, you watch it on TV and you're like, wow, they're going fast. But then when you're sitting there and they're actually blowing past you at 180 miles an hour in the S curves.
The Pirelli bridge.
It's insane.
When we were sitting right there, and they were just like, I was trying to get my camera. Like I have a nice camera, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get the car. And it's just like, boom, boom, gone. It's like a fighter jet. And you think about a 19-year-old, you know, it is crazy to think about like how fast. And
well, I don't know if it was Antonelli, but I know Arvid Lindblad.
Yep.
For Racing Bulls.
Yep.
I don't even think he has his license yet.
Or
he just
wild.
got his
crazy?
License or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's in F1.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But anyway, I mean, cool season.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Awesome
pretty good start. It's been entertaining to watch. I mean, obviously kind of sucks that next month, we've got Japan in a couple weeks, and then next month you've got nothing because of the war.
Yep.
So obviously they were going to cancel the Middle East races. Yeah.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Saudi
Arabia.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. But quick little tidbit I guess there. So obviously I think we all know, you could watch the races on ESPN now because, cash rules all. You have to get Apple TV to watch the races. And I myself, and I know a lot of other people that watch, is like the Apple TV broadcast sucks. It's the official F1 broadcast, so it's a little bit more formal than probably what you're used to, because on ESPN you had the Sky Sports broadcast. So fun fact, you're not locked into watching just the Apple TV broadcast. If you're on Apple TV, search Sky F1.
Oh, no
and
kidding.
All the Sky broadcasts are there. So if you want to listen to Crofty and watch the Brundle Grid Walk and all that stuff, just search Sky F1. So like this morning, I watched the race with the Sky broadcast. And it was,
because you said you didn't like the original Apple one from last week.
Yeah, just not a fan of it. I mean, it's not bad. It's kind of boring, but, with all the goons on Sky F1, I mean, it's a little bit more entertaining.
And I think for people who are getting into it, I think watching the practice interviews, the before the race interviews, all that stuff really kind of adds to, you kind of get a feel for what's going on. Because if you just watch the race, sometimes you're not really getting like a whole picture of what, you're like, okay, all these racers, these are the teams, but you're not really getting like that inside scoop, like how the racers are feeling, what they're talking about, what issues they're dealing with on the cars and stuff. So I think that what I found, and I've talked to some people that say, that type of stuff, when you're watching that stuff, it really paints a broader picture, so it's more entertaining.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm a total nerd. Like on
I
Fridays,
know you are.
On Fridays when I'm working, like I'll have practice on in the background, like as I'm working or whatever, just to like watch it. And I'll be that person that was like, even if like practice 3 was recorded, I'll watch practice before I watch qualifying,
right,
and get the kind of progression of the weekend.
Yeah.
Did you, before we jump into Ben, you guys do anything this past week? Anything like car related?
I did a little bit of work on the CC.
Yep.
Oh, you know how I bought the R line, so I brought that to work. Kim drove it home from Connecticut. Yeah, that thing, it needs quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, cool. I got a pretty good deal on it. It drove all the way home. So I tried to drive it to work the other day.
Wait, the actual R line or the
R line?
The 4Motion one?
Yeah, the 4Motion one I've been driving. It drives great.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so that one's good. Like it will be a good recipient of the R line bumpers and all the stuff that I need from the other car. But I was hoping to salvage the other car and kind of have like just sell it as like a cheaper car for someone.
Some good daily for somebody that just doesn't care.
I'm thinking about still doing it. I like pulled the intake. It had I tried to drive it to work the other day and the thing was just misfiring so bad. And I was like, it was driving fine. It started rough and then I cleared the faults and I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Because he thought it was an injector, but Kim drove it all the way from Connecticut, but we didn't really hit a lot of stop and go. It was like pretty much straight.
Just stayed in an RPM.
Is it just gunked with carbon?
So I got it to work. Or I didn't get it to work. I was like, this thing's been filthy, so I'm just going to run it through the car wash. So there's a car wash. So I stop. I get in the car wash, and it just starts misfiring so bad. So I clear the fault. It keeps misfiring. I smell fuel. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, am I going to be stuck in this car wash? It was like a drive-through, like touchless. So I ended up like limping it out of there, got to work, pulled it into the shop later on, and it was cylinder 4 misfire. You should have seen, I pulled the plugs. There was 3 mismatched coils, and then the plugs looked like something from a straight up lawnmower. I was like, these aren't even the right.
Yeah.
They were like the right length, but they were like just way off. And the gap is generally around 32 thousandths for like a Volkswagen spark
Was it like
plug.
double?
It was like 40 something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so this is going to fix it. So I put the plugs in, put coils in, just used coils and plugs that I had that were good, and still misfiring. So it'll leak down on cylinder 4. Good leak down, was sealed up. So I think it's a bad injector. Pulled the intake. The carbon was pretty bad, so I cleaned up all the carbon. But it needs a rear spring. It needs brakes all the way around. It needs coolant flange, thermostat. Needs timing chains. Like it needs like everything a TSI engine needs. So I'm like, is it worth it for me to do the work? So I'm still toying with it. I'm like, well, do I fix it halfway and then just sell it for cheap, or do I like fix it and then try to get some money back out of it? But yeah, no. So it wasn't the best buy. But
It happens.
But the bumpers are good, and it'll look cool on the other car. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
as
see
long
about
as you can
that.
get the parts you need.
Yeah. I did order the coilovers. I got Votland coilovers coming. So for the other car, the 361. So yeah, but I was talking to Kim last night. She still thinks she wants a Arteon. So who knows? Maybe I'll just sell it all.
Get rid of everything.
Yeah. Any
I don't
luck
believe
on
that for a second?
No, probably not. I'll probably just keep it. But have you been looking at anything? I know I sent you some random cars.
Yeah, I mean,
there was a couple.
Yeah. What was it? You had sent. Sorry.
There was a couple Mark V R32s.
Yeah.
Because
as much as I want one, I'm really stuck on getting a Mark III VR. I don't know.
I support that.
Yeah,
I think you'd have more
I need to
fun with
buy
it,
one.
too.
I need to buy one now before the prices are out of control right now, but I can deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to pay 15, 20K for one. At that point, it's just not going to happen.
What's your ideal
price?
price?
I'd like to be around 10 and not have to do floors or any rockers or quarters or anything, strut towers, which is doable. But the problem is I'm kind of stuck on, I want Emola yellow, jazz blue. I'll take a red. Green's a cool color, but that's like 4th down the list. I don't like black cars. So some of
the rarer colors.
Yeah, I would prefer jazz blue. Like I know.
So you might have to spend like 15.
Yeah. So Henry's thrown out his car.
Is that the blue?
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants 15 for it.
Yeah.
It's got a shit ton of miles. It's got over 200K, which whatever. I don't give a shit about miles. But 15K, it's like,
yeah, resale value.
Yeah, I'm not really.
That makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I'm that person that still thinks a Mark III is $500.
Yeah,
like we'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to. I still have to pay Zach when my car's done. I don't know how much that's gonna be. I sent him a message this week. I got nothing back. I'm gonna have to send him another one. But when it's done, I got to see how much money I actually have and what I can do. And Laura's like, you can take some money. She'll be hearing this in a couple days, but she's
Shout
like,
out
I'm
to
not
Laura.
buying it for you.
He hasn't asked her yet.
Yeah,
He's gonna ask her tonight.
Yeah, no, but like, she's like, if you need some money, you can just take it out of the bank. It's not a big deal. But she's like, I'm not buying you another car.
But after you get your Mark II back from Zach, how long until you're driving that?
And that is a 12 valve.
I mean, it's a shell.
Yeah, but
You know what I mean? I there's still stuff I need to buy. I need a full exhaust. It's gonna have to be custom. I need to make brake lines. Not a big deal. I have to get everything powder coated. I have the subframes done, and that's about it. I gotta send every piece out to get powder coated. The strut bar, the rear hoop.
Sounds like about $15,000.
Yeah, it's gonna be a couple grand in powder coating. Everything's gonna be either black or I got a good matching color to the burgundy. I found a good color, and I'm getting the transmission case done. Like it's going to be a lot. I'm going to try to get everything in one shot, drop it off, get it back, and then start putting it together. But I also want to black zinc all the hardware. So like I've already looked into it. Get a tumbler, get this, get that.
There's places that do that for you.
I know.
I'm gonna send out a bucket of them and they come back.
So that was my other option. Get all the hardware and just send it somewhere and let them do it, and then get it back and just.
It would be easier than trying to find time out of your day to do it.
And that's the other problem. Got to come home from work, and the last thing I want to do. I don't know how Dan does it.
What?
You get over there digging in your phone.
Dan's not paying attention.
What happened? I wasn't paying attention again.
He's on Marketplace.
Yeah. He's trying to find
actually
me.
bought 3 cars in the time I was talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find a $500 Mark III and
Oh,
sell
here
it to
we go.
him for 15 grand.
No, but
I
like,
was gonna say, so everybody who's selling a Mark III, take note, mark up your price.
Al's
Al will
vulnerable.
buy it.
I mean, I'm not buying any shit box.
No.
But the problem is I found cars, found one in Washington, Delaware,
Florida?
Pennsylvania.
Florida's
If
tough.
Florida would be nice because I could have Justin and Tom grab
Yeah.
it. But I want to try to find something within New York. Like, I don't want to have to drive 4 hours just to go look at a car and find out it's on.
I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Though.
I don't either, because I'm going to have to go outside New England.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we'll see what happens when I'm actually ready to pull the trigger, and I'll send Henry a message because he's not trying to sell it, but he has put the post out there.
Yeah.
You know, and it is nice.
You should
looks
be able
clean.
to. You should be able to pull off Florida though. You're in Disney every other week.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
fly down
do you
a
look-
day early and
do you look every time you go down?
No, but we don't leave the Disney bubble. That's
I'm
My
pretty sure that's a
sister-
sin to go to a different state and not look at the
I know.
marketplace
Oh,
around you.
I have. I
Okay.
look because Justin and Tom are down there, but like,
My sister lives there too,
Yeah.
and she's like kind of on a different part of the state. So if you
if I
I
find
can give you
something-
the town location. That
yeah,
way
yeah.
you can
I
kind
can
of
look in
around
that
there.
area.
Yeah,
because I basically
she's
look
down
in
there all the
I
time.
look in Daytona and I look in
Yeah.
Ocala. But like I was saying, I don't know how you do it. You get home from work and then you go hop in the garage.
Sometimes
It's
it's better to just go out there than just like sit on the couch and hang
Yeah.
out. But which is why I think like sometimes if I'm like still at work and I just kind of keep working on a project at work instead of going home and starting
yeah.
like. But I have found that listening to podcasts out there help.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what I do. I just
Yeah.
I throw on Drink Champs or something, and
because it just gets my mind off of it, and then I'll just But I also like doing stuff in my own shop because I can take my time and that's how I work, like working. Because when I'm at work, I'm like, okay, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. Got to get this done. When I'm at home, yes, I still need to get it done. And there are like the time constraints and stuff.
When
I
you're
want to
doing-
get it done.
when you're
but
doing like a customer car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little different than me having to just go out there and be like, all right, I got to work on my
Yeah,
car now. But I
yeah.
think it'll be different once the car's home because I'm going to have that like urge because it's been, I kind of lost track. I think it's either been 8 or 9 years.
Yeah,
I-
every
yeah.
bit of that.
on the Mark II?
Yeah. I bought it. I either bought it
What?
in 17 or 18, like a month ago. And
Oh, that's how long you've owned
no,
it.
I bought it. And
I
then
thought you were saying that's the last time you worked on it. I
No.
was like, there's no way. Because I remember
2 years-
working on
2
that
years
a little
ago.
bit.
2 years ago, I
Okay.
took it from Ryan LeBlanc's.
Yep.
And then I took it right there to Zach's, and I'm pretty sure it's been sitting in his personal garage.
You know what helps me? And I'll give you a tip. I'm super OCD about like organization. Anytime I go start a new project that I haven't worked on in a while, I spend at least one night cleaning the whole garage, putting everything away. Sometimes I get carried away. Like the other night, I have this bar that goes across the strut to hold the engine.
Like an engine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an
an engine.
engine.
A crane, hoist. I don't know.
It's like a
Cradle.
cradle.
Yeah.
It's a cradle.
Yeah, we have one at work.
But I'm like, I'm always like, where the hell do I put this thing? So like, I just fabricated up a little hook to like hang it from the ceiling, and I was like, cool. Now I have a spot to just hook this thing. Like, but then I was like, oh, I didn't get what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
Got
work on it
sidetracked
at
for
all.
2
But it
hours.
really does like make you feel better because then you're like, all right, all my tools are organized and put away. And then like when you come, you have a fresh start,
At
and that's
work-
what I would recommend.
At work, I put everything away. Finish a job, put
Yep.
it away, so I'm not looking for that 10 millimeter. At home, I finish a job, everything sits on top of the toolbox. And then
And just-
and then I'm going looking for stuff, and I'm like, all right, where is it?
Yeah.
I have a ratchet and a 10 mil on my bureau in my bedroom.
It was in your pocket when you came up.
I like for whatever reason I had it and I brought it up and I was like, well, put this here. It's probably been in there for like a year. But I told Laura, I go, I'm going to take everything on my side with the lift, move it
Yeah.
over to her side, and start shuffling stuff up above the
Upstairs,
garage and organizing because we bought new Tupperware for the basement to organize down there. I took all the old stuff and I brought it in the garage, and I've been slowly putting stuff in there and moving it. So
Yeah.
I need to fully reorganize and get it so I can actually work because I physically can't do anything. Like I was supposed to do the brake lines on that Mini, and I pawned it off on my buddy Joe.
Right.
And I was like, I don't have the room in here to be doing brake lines front to back. It'll be a nightmare.
I also think there's something beautiful to say for like not getting in your vehicle to drive home after being dirty all day. Like
Yeah.
to work on something inside your house. If you're done,
Yeah.
you walk right inside, you jump in the shower,
Yep.
you're done.
And there's no like pressure. You know,
Exactly.
you're just like,
Yeah.
well, but if you leave a car in a lift for like 5 years, then you should finish it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll be nice when you
That's
free
me. That's
free up
me
that.
and you
yeah.
actually. So,
I mean, that's basically what I've been using my lift for the
Yep.
last 2 years of just storage.
yeah.
It'd be nice to actually use it. You know, I've done head jobs on Lara's side of the garage on the ground. It is what it is. Like, you know,
I think that's also nice about doing stuff like at your work is like my truck needs to get off the lift tonight because we're using that tomorrow to make money.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
push in that too.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse because sometimes you run into it and you're like, this thing's gonna be on the lift tomorrow. But for the most part, you can kind of just like keep yourself moving and be like, one way or another, this thing needs to at least roll outside.
Yep.
And we can get it back in.
Right. That's like, I used to love the car show thing, like when I was working on my own cars, which I feel like I don't really have like a car I'm trying to finish ever for a car show anymore. But I used to all the time. Like, and I felt like Kim would think I was crazy because I'd be up till 2 a.m. trying to finish this. But I really think that like gives you the motivation to have a deadline. And it's always like the last minute, you're trying to, and then you're like exhausted and you don't even really have that good of a time because you're so tired.
You ruined it for yourself.
But you finished it. And then the rest of the season, you're just like, I can just like cruise the car shows, cars and coffee, whatever you want to do because your car is done.
I'm
it
trying
just
to
depends
do
on
more, trying to do more car stuff this year.
Yeah, I was driving here actually on the way here, and there was a 911 SC, like a blue. It must have been coming from like, there must be Seacoast Cars and Coffee or something.
I don't know if
Maybe.
that stuff started yet. It may have.
He was cruising. I was like, hell yeah, buddy. And then we both got stuck behind a Hyundai.
Like every month you ask to go to Concord Cars and Coffee, and I'm just like,
It's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
It's
and then
great.
I don't end
It's
up going.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to do that this year.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come up here, meet you guys, and then we can
It's-
all go up.
Yeah.
It's
That'd be
awesome. It's so cool. I mean, Mike came, we went that one time.
Yeah, the last one of the season we went.
And that was really cool.
No, I should go more considering I live like 5 minutes from it. But
yeah, it's really nice down there, and there's like good coffee spots, and like if you get there earlier enough, you can get a really good spot. And I think it's the mix of different cars. Like that's what's really like. There was a W8 Passat, which people probably don't even know what it is, and then there's like a 1939 Rolls Royce, like across from it, and it's like I talked to both people, so it's like.
I also think it's really aesthetically pleasing too. Like being downtown Concord, the bigger buildings
Capitol,
and whatnot. It looks nice, and it's most of it's parallel spots, right?
yeah.
So like that's also always a good look.
Yeah, they've got like the angled parking on one side of the
Yeah.
street and then the regular parallel spots on the other side.
Yeah. Same thing with the Elm Street show. Just saying.
I went last year for the first time.
Did you?
I
Yeah.
heard you guys
what'd you-
talking
Oh,
about
that was your
last
first
week.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
first one. I loved it.
Yeah, and it wasn't Manchester Street. It was Merrimack
Yeah,
Street. That's where the Volvo dealership is.
Yep.
It's the oldest. I think it's got to be. That dealership looks old. Like the Merrimack Street
They
Volvo.
that's like the original, but like the other part of it is over on Valley and Union.
Corner.
Yeah. It was cool, but like I said before in the last episode, we had all of the VWs lined up down the whole road, and we were right next to the park, which was really cool. But yeah, I mean, that is a great show too for like just a mix of different cars that, you go to, especially if you're into one type of car, right? Like you're into hot rods or you're into Volkswagens, and then you go to those shows all the time. You see a lot of the same cars maybe, and then you're like, okay, well, that Elm Street show is just such a huge event.
It's a melting pot.
It's so cool to just see, and everybody seems to be pretty respectful and
Yeah, I didn't see anything crazy. We parked actually inside the park.
Oh, nice.
Which was kind of cool. I didn't realize that they were going to.
Yeah, they got
I'm
like
surprised they
vendors
didn't
and
bump
shit
into
in
you.
there.
Yeah, honestly, I
That's
think I
crazy.
saw your guys' car. I think I talked to Ryan for a little bit, but
Yep.
other than that, we just we did a lap down. I think you talked about like going and grabbing breakfast or whatever, grabbing food, but we did one lap down to the end of Bridge or like where Bridge starts, and then kind of slowly made our way back.
Nice.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it's not bad when you especially like your truck will fit in good down there.
Yeah, I brought it last year.
Yeah.
There was not much done to it, and I still got a bunch of conversation about it, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
So
Yep.
yeah, love that.
All right, so we'll just get fully into Ben, and I don't know. So Ben Jensen works at Kent's Towing in Milford. What's your day to day?
I call myself a manager there. Kind of do a little bit of everything. It's a service writer's position. I write slips. I schedule all the appointments, order parts, talk to customers. I would say that's kind of the main of what I do. being an independent shop, there's also room. It's me and one mechanic.
Okay, I was going to ask how many are there.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. There's a little bit of balance back and forth. We've talked a million times about hiring a second person. It's awesome when we're busy. I would hate to see it when we hit the slow periods. It's just to be paying 2 people to potentially sit around or clean all day just isn't always an option. We tried going the route of hiring younger people to do their thing as well, and it just
Like an hourly guy just to do oil changes.
Or
oil
apprentice.
changes, anything like that. Apprentice.
Yeah.
Yep.
The hard part is you need to bring your own tools, which isn't really an option for a lot of these kids because we all know tools are expensive.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how kids coming in now are
It's
affording
insane.
it. Like
Well,
I was,
you got Harbor Freight.
yeah.
I mean, you can get
some
some
of the
really good
icon
quality
stuff.
tools.
I just bought my first toolbox from Harbor
Yeah.
Freight. I bought the 56-inch one. To be honest, I love it.
U.S. General.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
they're
was
pretty nice now.
On sale for, it was 900 original, on sale for 780.
Yep.
I honestly think it's great for what it is, and I'm never going to call myself a mechanic. I do enough and know enough, but I didn't need anything crazy, and I have no interest in buying a $5,000 Snap-on box. It's just not who I am.
They ain't $5,000 anymore.
That's
the
also
crazy
the
part.
thing, yeah. And so no, I did the Harbor Freight thing, and honestly, I love it. Stocked it with some like silly stuff that I knew I was going to need, like a Pittsburgh 3/8 ratchet, just because it's there
Yeah.
and I can use it. If I need something better or want something better, awesome, I'll do it then. But for now, the $15 ratchet's the best.
Do you guys have one pretty close to there? Isn't there
Yeah,
one?
we've got one right in Amherst, so
Yep.
it's maybe 10-15 minutes from the
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah, it's Target parking lot, right?
No, before that, it's where it's across from like Lowe's, and there's a Longhorn right there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right, like a couple miles after Walmart.
Yep.
On the right. But yeah, no, it's convenient, and I mean, at the end of the day, I get quality is quality, and you get what you pay for. Kind
I mean,
of thing,
if
but,
you're
like,
using it every single day, like
Exactly.
we are, then
yep,
yeah,
but
it's
for
different.
the person who uses it once in a while or on the weekends or something, it does everything you're going to need it to do, and they have a lot of warranties. So if it breaks, cool, you give it back to them.
I mean, I
No, it's a
started
good
off with
intro.
all Craftsman.
Yeah.
Me too.
I got to a point where I was blowing out sockets every week, just going there.
Well, when they're made out of wood back
Yeah.
then, Al, you're gonna.
Hey,
blow 'em out, you know?
whoa.
Dude, remember last episode we said, "Oh, Al was a hack."
Yeah.
Dude, I literally found a Craftsman Club card in my toolbox the other day, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
That's
this
wild.
thing, I think, because that probably was 2008,
Yep.
and I used to go to Sears and like
Yeah.
buy all my tools.
I bought the starter mechanic set for $500 and
Yep.
you know,
Me too.
had basically everything I needed just to do the normal stuff as an hourly kid at BMW.
Yeah, but no.
I-
So it's just
Oh no,
No, go for it.
No.
it's just
You're good.
it's just me and my mechanic. Like I said, I do stuff when I need to or when I can. If we get busy enough throughout the day and there's an oil change that comes in, cool, I'll blow it out.
Yep.
I'll help when we had state inspections. I would help with the state inspection. I know what to check, so I'd go through it, make sure there isn't anything crazy, and then my mechanic goes,
And
just
if you
a
have any
quick once
questions, you're
over.
like,
and-
hey, I got a question about
exactly.
this. Just double check it.
The small stuff. Could I do breaks on something? Yeah. Do I want to? No. I'm in the middle of answering phones. I'm in the middle of doing other things. To get pulled off of a job is just, it's not worth it to me. And
Yeah, somebody walks in the door.
exactly. And I do well enough to schedule being like, hey, we have the time for this. There's
Yeah.
there not often is there like the, oh my goodness, we're not going to be able to get this done, because what's the worst part about pushing it out till tomorrow? You know, a customer calls to do breaks or something. Hey, I don't really have enough time today, but we can do it tomorrow.
Well,
It keeps us that much busier.
with independent shop, it's probably easier to push a customer off a day or two versus at a dealership.
Exactly.
Unless you have parts issues,
Yeah.
a
But
customer expects their car back the next
Mhm.
day for basic stuff.
And I feel like at a dealership, as I don't know how this actually works, but like service, you can't really tell a customer no, right? Like if someone's like, hey, I need it, or like, I want my appointment this day, it's a little bit harder to be like, yeah, well, you're actually going to have to wait, a couple more days because they want the sale. I might be wrong in that. I've never worked in a dealership, but
They schedule out depending on it depends on the dealership.
Yeah.
But some dealerships are run better than others,
Mhm.
for sure. And they do online scheduling is kind of a disaster for some places
imagine.
because
Ours
you
is.
can literally schedule whatever you
Yep.
want, and then they show up and it's like, well, you're trying to create realistic expectations for the customers, and it's
I would say the dealership that you work at does a decent job. I usually schedule my stuff online, and they have like blocked out times
Mhm.
where you can't schedule and stuff like
I
that.
try to block his out.
Yeah.
Just
delete. Well,
But-
at Mini, so they'll call up and be like, hey, I want to come in at 9:00. And we're like, oh, we don't have anything till 11. They'll be like, all right, cool. And then they'll go online and book it for 9 o'clock.
That's what I mean.
That's
Like, it's
wild.
kind of,
There's no, they just, or the 901.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we can't do anything about it. I don't know what the system is, but it's a nightmare.
I think a lot of it depends on your service advisors too. Like I remember the old dealership I worked at, it was a written rule. Saturdays were for quick stuff, right? It was like oil changes, tires, brakes. That was it.
Yep.
But then you'd have a particular service advisor who was on that day, and then like someone would come in for a timing chain at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
what
what
are
I
you
want.
doing? Service.
no, I will
Oh,
take
yeah.
it all day, every Saturday. If
Right.
I could have 3 timing chains lined up,
Yeah.
I will
But
go.
the
Well, yeah,
problem
you're a
is
sicko.
the problem is
I-
yeah. Dan's deranged, but it's fine. But the issue is when you have 45 waiters for oil changes and you've got 2 guys in the back,
Yeah.
and then you've got the one service advisor that's scheduling a timing chain at 11 o'clock when you close at 1:30.
Imagine telling a customer you're gonna have to wait on your oil change because I have to do a timing job.
Yeah,
Like
right.
what?
yeah.
Yeah, no, but you got customers that'll come in for on Saturday for an oil change and be like, oh, by the way, my check engine light's on. And then what's the writer tell them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, sorry, we can't do it today. You're gonna have to come back next week.
Exactly.
They're gonna, especially if maybe they're slow, they're gonna take it in anyways. But then you're gonna get somebody like Dale might get stuck with it. You know what I mean? Like somebody back there is gonna get stuck with a check engine light they didn't want at noontime on a Saturday.
Right.
Yeah,
It
which
depends.
sucks.
I mean, it's usually a skeleton crew on Saturdays. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely handled some heavy workload on Saturdays, but it's really about, so the manager that I work with, he does a really good job of sort of weeding through all those online appointments and calling those people and saying, hey, like realistically, we're not going to be able to get to this, or this is something that we can't promise you is going to be finished today. So, but it must be cool that you guys have tow trucks, because I was just thinking like it would be so convenient sometimes, like, you know, customer calls, you're like, yeah, we'll just come get you.
It's very convenient. And usually like
cool.
we give them a little break on the, you know, the cost of the tow or
Right.
whatever, because they're still
because
using
you're
us for the
gonna
rest
you're
of
gonna
it.
get
So,
work.
yeah, it's perfect. And then even having the tow trucks gets us work that, you know, someone's broken down, there may not be a from around here, or they don't know what's going on, or they don't actually have a solid mechanic.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we can be like, hey, we can make it happen. And as a service writer, I'll make it work. You know what I mean? To get that person in and be like, hey, you know, especially if they're local, and be like, you can come to us regularly. Like, that's not an issue. We can make it happen. And so it's nice to be, you know, have the flexibility to get those people in the door. And you know, like you said, having the tow truck is a game changer. Yeah, it works all the way around. It also works for having, you know, dead cars in the driveway, in the parking lot. Can't get something in because it's, you know, whatever's broken on it. We can just pick them up and put them right inside. It's very
so cool.
convenient.
Yeah,
I need
we got to
one
get.
of those.
I was just gonna say, Dan needs to buy a tow truck.
You won't. That's true too for your own home.
They're expensive.
They
but-
are.
We got to get
oh
all
my
6
God.
guys in the shop to go out and push one car. And
Right.
if it's snowing out,
Exactly.
it's a nightmare to
Yep.
get in.
Nope, that's so convenient being able to do that. And yeah, a lot of the times, you know, if we do have an open bay, I can just be like, yep, dump it inside because I don't want to deal with it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out in there and look at it. Or like you said, when it's snowing,
Mm-hmm.
yep, dump it right inside. We put it like to the edge of the door so all the snow melts off of it, leave it there for a minute, and then we can just push it forward into the lift.
Nice.
It works out well.
Yeah, I mean, you could winch it too. Like if you ever need to winch something in, like I was thinking, you know, that's probably what I should do is set up a winch on the Touareg, and I'll just keep that at work when we need to pull cars in. I just winch it in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can do the old tire on the bumper too. Push it in like
It's so
that.
sketchy though,
I've
with
been
like
there.
a brand new car.
I think
you
it
know,
was
it's like,
Herb Chambers BMW down in Boston. They have a golf cart.
Yep.
That's cool.
That they push the cars.
I was
with.
looking for tractors recently
Yeah.
to do that. Granted, we have the tow
Seriously.
truck, but just to have one would be kind of cool.
yeah, big
anyway.
Kubota.
Yeah,
But those
why
are
not?
expensive too.
Yeah.
I've been looking at Kubotas, like even used like early 2000s, and it's like 20 grand
Yeah.
for like a nice Kubota. I'm
You're
like,
spending the
"Ugh."
money. They're worth it.
They are. I almost think like buying a new one, but I've read a lot about like the regulations on like the diesel engines and stuff. There's more. It's
Yeah.
like everything, you know.
Kubota does a lot of 0% financing
Yeah,
too, so that'd be slick.
yeah.
It's
So-
free money. Why not?
Kim, do you want a new Arteon or do you want a Kubota? she actually probably would choose
There we
the
go.
Kubota.
Yeah, she does a lot of gardening, right?
She loves that
She'd be
stuff.
good.
Yeah, she's actually been talking about it. So both of our marketplaces, like, you know, it's weird if you open our phones because it's tractors and all kinds of stuff. But I wanted to ask you, did you plan on going into the automotive industry originally when you were in high school, or were you that you
No.
just kind of worked your way into that field?
Yeah, it just kind of happened. So to be honest, I I started waiting tables. That was my first job ever. I worked at Longhorn in Amherst, and then I started working at a bank in Concord. There was no real guide, no real why am I doing this. It just kind of happened. And um, a year and a half, I think, into working at the bank, I got offered a position at a hydraulic shop in Merrimack. It was family owned. It was a good gig. I did shipping for a while, started doing sales. Realized I didn't know a thing about hydraulics, and I wasn't really great at the sales aspect because I didn't know anything. So, um, this position with Kent's got opened up as far as a service manager, and I was like, you know what? I love vehicles. You guys talk about it a lot too. I never wanted to be a mechanic because it's too close. I didn't want to lose the passion, didn't want to lose the
Yeah.
fun of doing it.
That happened to Jared.
Exactly.
He went to a tech school, came out, got a job at Volkswagen at Tully, hated it.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
No, I thought it was the closest I could get to it without getting too far into it. And to be honest, I love customer service. I've always been a customer service person, so I think that aspect was really huge for me too. And to be honest, it's the best job I've ever had. I love the aspect of it. I like that I know what I'm talking about. So when my mechanic tells me he needs something, I have an understanding.
Sometimes
Of
that's
where
the
it's coming
biggest
from.
issue is the
Exactly.
going from the tech to the writer
Yeah,
trying to explain.
you tell
it.
someone who's good with a computer that you need a certain part, they might not know what you're looking for. Do does the hardware come with it? Does the cotter pin come with it? Whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden, the tech gets 2 out of the 5 parts they need and they're waiting.
But you're doing the parts quotes as well.
I'm doing the parts quotes.
Do you guys stock parts, or do you
No,
stuff, or do you just order
we
everything?
stock oil
Yep.
filters,
Yep.
but to be honest, we don't stock anything. We use all local part stores
Yep.
that are around us, accounts set up, the whole 9
Nice.
yards. Use Federated Auto Parts, Fisher, whatever you want to call
Yep.
them nowadays. They're like my go-to. They're just good
They're
group of
awesome.
guys that I
Yeah.
know, and I talk to them every single day. I know who they are. They know me by name. It's nice, but and then your O'Reilly's and all that stuff. O'Reilly's has
They're decent.
dude. They always have the weirdest stuff that I can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's wild to me. So they're kind of like my second.
We get all our off-brand stuff. Any of the used cars,
Yep.
oil filters, wipers, brakes.
Yep.
It all comes from O'Reilly's down the street.
They're awesome. Yeah, Federated comes in once a week. They stock our oil filters, our oil, headlight bulbs, stuff like that. And then we use another company called Worth, and they stock a
Yep.
lot of our
Worth is
wheel
great.
weights.
Oh,
Worth is
Hardware.
awesome.
Worth, you got the dude with the mullet.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Yep,
He
I've
comes
known-
into us.
I've known Eddie for a long
Yep,
time. Yeah, he does all our wheel weights.
The mullet's sick.
The mullet's wild. All of our hardware he does as well. Like abrasive discs, stuff like that. Our brake clean, whatever you want to
Cut
call it
off wheel
nowadays. But
discs,
cut off
yeah,
wheels,
all
all
that
that.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah, those are like the 2 that come in regularly. People try, and like Kimball Midwest and all those people, they always show up, and I'm like, this is the 8th sales guy I've seen in the last 2 years, and they're all different. I'm like, there's something about
Having the
repetitive and
same
having
guy,
that
yep.
person, and
The
nine
relationship.
times out of 10, you have their phone number. If I need anything, I can call him. I can call Eddie and be like, hey, dude, I need this, and it's on my doorstep in 2 days.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
It's
a
huge, and
difference.
I think that's in general what I like about the world of being in like the mom and pop, the independent shop, is that I know everyone by name for the most part, with whether it be the parts people or my customers or whatever it is. Like, there's something about just calling that person and how was your weekend? How was this? Oh, I also need this filter, this air filter, whatever it might be. There's something about that to me that I just love.
I'm sure you got the customers that come in, their oil change every 6
Oh, yeah.
months.
Yep. And they're coming in
Winter tire
asking-
swaps.
Exactly. And they're coming in asking opinions and asking like how I feel about something or how my mechanic feels about something, which I think is great too. That person to person aspect of just this person. You know that they're putting their family in this vehicle, and those people too. So to also feel like you want to keep their vehicle safe for them and their family is I love that. I feel like we're not just turning and burning vehicles
Right.
for the money or for the whatever it might be.
Yep.
Obviously the money's nice and it keeps us going, but my mechanic is also hourly.
How long? I was going to ask
Yeah.
that if he had any type of incentive. How long has he been there?
He's been there 7 years.
Okay.
His name's John. He's a mid-50s guy. He's honestly one of the greatest people I know. Best dude. He's a little wild, but he's awesome and very reliable. He's just a good guy. if he's not there in the morning, by the time I am, I know something's wrong.
Yeah.
It's that kind of person. He's always there.
What happened to the kid that was sleeping in his car?
So, the kid that was sleeping in his car, I think you all saw it, my thermometer Instagram story. The kid who said he was sick one day, and then one of my other guys said, "Hey, I don't think he's sick. I'm pretty sure he's doing whatever." And he ended up sending me a picture of a thermometer with a fever of 102, whatever it was. I put the picture into Google, and it was the third picture in Google.
Nailed it.
So that kid didn't last very
No.
long. But he was young, and that's what I was saying earlier.
Do some research, kid.
Dude.
Go at least
the
go a
third
couple
page.
pages,
Yeah,
couple
something.
pages in.
Click on like page
Something.
12 and then send it.
But
I mean, at least he didn't put it up to a light bulb and put it to like 120.
yeah,
You know?
I'm dying,
warm water.
bro.
He's
Dude.
dead. Yeah.
Dude, wild. But no, and like I said earlier, he's young. He was young. What is young? Whatever. And he knew enough, but he didn't have a lot of tools. He was borrowing my mechanic's tools, which is hard. John's in the middle of a job, and this kid's kind of not snooping around, but digging through his drawer trying to find something, and then John goes to turn around and look for it, and it's not there.
Yeah.
And like that's just not an option. I will say I do remember I put the kid on a job. He was doing a not the heater core, but the AC condenser that's behind the dash in a Dodge minivan.
Evaporator?
And, yeah, the evaporator. And I was like, yeah, it's a good job. It's a long job. You got to take the entire dash out of this thing. Like, it's miserable, but kid's got small hands and he can make it happen. I go out there and he's sitting in the front seat of the car watching a movie on his phone. And I was like, okay. I didn't say anything. I'm like, maybe it's 2 seconds of a whatever. And then I go back out a minute later and still doing the same thing. I'm like, yeah, no, okay. I'm like, this is where we're going to end that. I'm like, that's not an option. But I don't want to be that guy that's like, yeah, it's the new generation. But
It is.
on some level it is. Like, there
Yeah.
are kids that want to grind for it, and there are kids who are very interested in it. But for the majority of them, I would say that they're not there.
It's tough to find good.
No, we've had a
hard
couple
workers.
hourly guys, and one of them bounced to go work for a Mercedes independent shop that he was friends with the guy there. And then the other one's like, I don't want to work on cars anymore. And he's going back to school, and he ended up going to Firestone, whatever. It was like he lived in like Bedford, Mass. So he went down the street, worked there part-time, and now he's at Lexus.
What?
So, but I talked to him recently, and he's like, I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm going to go full-time school, get it done.
Yeah.
And then I think he wants to do something with, I forget what it was. It was something with, not programming. I don't even know what the hell it was, but it was something not car related at all. He just wanted to be out.
You got to think though. I mean, when we started,
3D design.
Oh, okay.
That's what he was going
Like
to
CAD
go.
For
design.
automotive or just in
no,
general?
just in
Okay.
general.
It's probably a better field.
Yeah.
Because honestly, and not to discourage anybody that listens to this podcast from becoming a mechanic, because if you grind, you can make a lot of money.
Yep.
And to go back to your example about the kid watching a movie, that's why flat rate is sort of, and it's a double-edged sword here, but it can be a good system for the right people.
Not everyone's
as long
cut
as
out for it.
not cutting corners, but creating incentive. And I think manufacturers probably could have done a better job assisting, especially at dealerships, because I feel like they kind of set the precedent as the industry. Independents, I think, obviously there's great independents out there. There's shitty ones too, just like great dealerships and shitty ones. But I think like getting into this industry right now is tough for young kids because they're like, for one, what's the future of automotive?
Exactly.
Like, are we going fully electric? I remember for a while I was like, I'm not going to open my own shop because I'm going to keep my foot in the door to get the electric knowledge, you know? And then now you see this kind of tapered back on the whole. And the other thing is like the right to repair. Like a lot of these cars with their batteries and stuff like that, you have to really, really invest in your shop's tools and computers to even touch these new electric cars. So for kids coming in, for one, they have to buy tools. Two, we won't say they're all lazy, but
No, but
but
There's a good
it's
handful.
not easy.
No. And it's the unsuredness. Is that
Yeah,
the word?
yeah.
Unsuredness of the future of the automotive
Right,
industry.
right.
It's,
And a lot of people don't even really love cars anymore. Like, when we were all younger, it's like we're all enthusiasts, but like how awesome was it when you got your license? Like you're like, holy
yeah.
shit, I'm gonna like
You got it the second you could.
And
Yeah, it
especially
was-
if you were the first one out of your friends.
oh,
yeah.
it was like the freedom
Yep.
of that. And now it's like, well, I'll just Uber.
My brother
know?
waited till he was
Yeah.
18, and I was like, "How are you doing that?" I was
Yeah.
like, "I'd be losing my mind." He's like, "Well, I got friends to drive me around." I'm like, "No."
I had one friend that was like that. He waited because he didn't take driver's ed, so he
Yep.
waited till he was 18 and then went down and got his license.
I got my license 2 days after my 16th birthday.
Yeah.
It was lined up with driver's ed. It
Yep.
was perfect.
I had to wait till I think October I turned 16 in January. I had to wait till October because I had a weird in between with the driver's ed thing, but it was the best.
I had a weird question that I had written
Yep.
down for something else, but getting your license 16, what year was it and how old was the car? So like, let's say you got your license in 16,
I got my
2006.
license in 2012.
Oh, Jesus. So 2012, how old was your first car? Was it 10 years older?
My
8.
first car was a 1994 Ford Ranger, but the only reason I got it is my grandfather gave it to me, and he thought this thing was the holy grail. He thought it was
Cherry.
amazing. Oh my goodness!
Was it nice?
No.
Oh.
That's not entirely
Not by
true.
any means.
The interior was nice. It looked all right on the outside. It was like a dark green color. It was an extended cab. He would take it to the dump. That was his thing. It was just a put around truck. I knew about cars. Obviously, I was into cars, but I didn't know anything really. I brought it to get inspected, and the frame was rotted in half, and I didn't know what to do. And I sold it. My grandfather was so upset that I got rid of it because he thought it was amazing. And I was like, "There's literally nothing I could do with it." I'm like, the thing was about to break in half going down the road, and yeah, that was it. So yeah, 20.
So
it must have been
18
2012.
years?
Yeah,
So what was yours? Yours was the Porsche, right?
85,
And what year you get your license?
2006. So,
Okay. So that thing was 21.
part of the reason
right?
I became a mechanic is
Yeah.
because
You
my
got
parents.
your license in 06?
I think so. Oh, no. No. 04.
I have to edit mine too.
Before,
Mine was
yeah.
2010. I'm trying to do math in my head
All right.
right
So
now.
16
yeah.
years.
Yeah, I'm 32 now.
I was 2006,
Okay.
and my car was a 99.
Yeah. So yours was a lot newer compared to them.
Yeah.
Mine, I got it in 95 and I was driving an 87 GTI.
I was
Sorry. 87 Chevy Celebrity.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. I forgot about that. My dad bought it for me when I was like 15, but I didn't get my license till I was almost 17. But he didn't have a license, so he bought me a car, registered it, and
Yep.
then he had one of his friends like teach me how to drive in it. So
Do you want to walk us through, like, obviously you're a car enthusiast, that's why you're here. Some of the cars that you've owned, some of your favorite cars. I know you've owned a few. I've loved some of your cars, by the way.
We talked about the list a lot.
So
right?
I'll-
all of us have.
since
the
we're getting
list.
into that, Tim had a question.
Oh goodness.
And it was basically, hold on, shit. I took a screenshot of it last night.
Nice.
What's the longest
Still working
vehicle?
out those kinks.
Yeah. What's the longest vehicle you have owned and the funnest vehicle you owned?
Okay, so the longest vehicle is currently my daily driver, which is a 2015 F250. I've owned that for it'll be 3 years in April.
That's crazy. That's the
Wild.
longest
That's
car.
The longest
Longest.
I've
years.
ever owned a car was 3 years.
Oh, not the longest length wise of a car.
No.
Okay.
I mean, that would-
sounds like he does drive some long
Yeah, yeah,
cars. some
no,
long
I mean that's
trucks.
probably pretty close to the
Yeah,
longest
well,
one,
the
too,
other
but-
truck,
Yeah, the
the other
probably,
truck's
right?
longer,
Yeah.
but no, I've owned that. We're coming up on 3 years,
3
which
years,
is
wow.
wild.
Wow.
I have never had to re-register a vehicle.
That's
I've
really-
never
You're
owned a-
worse than me.
I've never owned a vehicle long enough to do brakes on it. Like
Probably, or
that,
an oil
like,
change.
start to
But you don't
finish.
buy new cars.
Nope, don't buy
No.
new cars. It's all
Nice.
old. So we all talk about our list. We have one. I have owned 48 vehicles in 16 years.
Like I thought I owned a lot,
Holy
but I've
moly.
also been driving longer.
For the most part, all of them were driven. I'm not going to say how far they were driven, but all of them were at least driven a little bit. Some of them parts vehicles, some of them projects that never really made it out of the garage. But yeah, and a couple motorcycles that aren't included. in
Yeah,
this
I
list.
don't. I had
I
4
don't
bikes. I
include them,
never
but
made it on my list.
yeah, 48 vehicles. So that truck being the longest I've ever owned one, what was the most fun? I don't know. That the E36 M3 was
The
a
yellow one.
blast. I had a really good time with that car.
I love that car.
I have
Um,
some great photos of that car.
It ripped. It was for what it was. It was fun. I mean, who doesn't hate or who doesn't love rear wheel drive? I
Yep.
mean, to just be able to do a brake stand is
Yeah.
cool. Like you can't hate that. No, that car was a lot of fun. That was the first vehicle I ever wrapped. And I've never done it since. I did it once. It was kind of terrible. It looked nice in yellow. I was cool with it, but
What color was the car?
it got to me blue, and it was
Oh, okay.
It wasn't wrapped, but it was
Plastidip.
plasti dipped,
Or
and peeling that off was horrendous.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But it was
a trend that I'm not
it
disappointed
was
is gone.
so bad.
Terrible.
It looked nice for
It
what
did
it
look
was.
good. I
That
remember.
blue color was cool. But yeah, no, I just had the idea. I was like, I want to color change it, and yellow was wild. I've always loved the Dakar yellow. Like it's just so
Yep.
good and iconic.
And
So
you
yeah.
had the Hot Boy wheels on it.
You fooled me because I didn't know it was.
Yeah.
I-
It was perfect. It was what was it? Sunflower Yellow by 3M, and it was as close as I could get. And then yeah, I ended up ordering a pair of a set of VSKFs from Russia, Europe, somewhere over there. They were 5x120. They were set up for a Corvette there actually, which was
Okay.
funny. 17s in the front, 18s in the rear. I don't remember how wide they
Yeah,
were.
they were double staggered.
They were double staggered, but yeah, and E36 is kind of fit that way anyway. Like, I feel like it's actually usually the opposite. 18s are better in the front because they sag a little weird in the rear. It's whatever it is, but no, that car was super cool. It was on Broadway static coilovers. The thing was hammered. I had to redo the lips on the back VSKFs because they rubbed against the inside of the fender, just because of how low it was and the fitment. But no, that was a really cool car. I think I would say that was probably the most fun I had in a vehicle, just because I owned it. Like I had an S14 for a little bit that was fun too, but I didn't own it for long enough to like fully enjoy it. I bought that to try and start doing the drifting thing, and it was last year, 2 years ago probably. And like getting into Lock City's hard. I know Shane was talking about the fact that there's nowhere else around here to drive.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, when people complain about tickets selling out for a concert or whatever, that's what it felt like with Lock City. And
You got to
with-
do it like that.
especially
morning.
with C Group. You're sitting there waiting and they sell out in seconds. And not to, this isn't against them or Lock City or anyone, but it's just like we went to the event. I sat in line all day waiting to drive. I think I got 6 laps total.
I didn't
and-
realize you actually.
Yeah,
like,
I went to an event. I did the whole thing, but like, I don't know, you're sitting around more often than you're not. So like as a beginner, you're trying to learn, you're trying to do all this stuff. Well, cool, you get a minute-long lap, not really, whatever it is, and then you're sitting cold in the line, just kind of waiting to get back on track. It's like, okay, what did I tell myself I needed to do after that lap? What did I want to try and correct? And again, that's not a diss on them. It's just a diss on how
Yep.
busy and how many people want to be driving. And like, A and B group are constantly on the move. So it's like to see that it's kind of like a bummer. But I also understand that's how it works. You got to put in the work.
They're
to-
also doing a lot of tandeming, and so they're sending
Exactly.
4 cars out at a time.
I think if it was 4 local, Jonah and I talk about it all the time. If there was a more local track, or when
That's what I'm hoping.
Drift New England opens up, the
Hudson
fact it's-
Speedway.
yeah, that too. It's
Tim,
45 minutes
let's
from
go.
us, but it makes you want to do it a little bit more.
Yeah.
The fact that you can, and then there's the other side of it where you didn't get a lot of laps, so when you get home and you drive the S14 on the street, you're like, well, I can also do this on the road if I wanted to. And that's when you start getting yourself into some trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the
Because
streets.
you're broadside through a 4-section intersection and broad daylight. You're not thinking anything of it, but then you come to a stop and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. That was a bad call.
Do you think the cops in like Japan cut those guys? I know I've seen videos where they're just like cranking through like just mountain passes and stuff. Do you think they
I
They
feel like
get
if you
busted?
get caught, they
Yeah.
But like I also feel like police presence seems a lot
different?
few and far between.
Yeah.
out there.
I'm
There's also
assuming
a
there's
lot of
somebody at the
rural
top
spots.
and the bottom of the mountain.
I was also
Probably,
going to say
yeah.
I might be
Spotters.
completely making this shit up, but I'm pretty sure that there's some sort of a particular gang-owned
Oh,
Yeah.
roads or
So the
closed
police don't
sections
go
of
there.
roads
Gotcha.
where there's
Yeah.
right.
I feel like there's a
I also feel
very
like-
big subculture.
And in Japan, I feel like
as well.
industrial industries are just that. They're industrial. There's
Yeah.
only workers there from a certain amount of time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And there's no other presence because no one theoretically drives down those roads.
Yeah.
That must be cool.
Must be wild.
Yeah.
I could only imagine. Because driving on the street has its own little quirks too. Like the ground's not always even. There's different, pavement, there's guardrails, there's everything else. It's just obviously it's not a controlled environment. So, you're running into other things. And then what do you do if you smoke a curb with the rear wheel and you're stuck there?
Oh,
Yep.
A cop pulls up and you're like, no, I just drove into this. Well, we can
Not
see
if
that
you're-
you're going a little fast.
We can
and-
we can see the skid marks
exactly.
that led
Yeah.
right into this.
Exactly.
right.
But yeah, no. So I guess to get back to Tim's question, I would say the E36 was the most fun
Yep.
to have. It was a cool car. And those, E36, in my opinion, is the best
I-
generation BMW. For what it is, for the mechanical aspect, for the actually feeling like you're driving a car. Again, I'm not always one of those guys either that it needs to be this. And,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? I think carbureted motors are kind of stupid, to be honest. But there's just, I don't know, there's a driver's feeling behind the E36 that I absolutely love. Yeah, I would say that's my answer to Tim's question.
What about the Jetta wagon?
The maroon one, the spice
Yeah,
red.
That was a great looking car.
Probably, it's top 5. It's one of my favorite
yeah.
vehicles. The smoothies I think were super cool
Yes,
on it
yeah.
too. A wheel you don't see. Paul Wiley owned those for ages.
Ever.
And then I, was finally able to buy them off of him. But that was a car that kind of like spiraled quick. At the time, I had a Mark III GTI VR.
Did we bag hold on. Yeah. But did we bag the wagon in my garage? Where'd you
Yeah,
we did, right?
yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
positive we did.
We
That was
just
a
drilled
6-speed?
Pretty sure.
Or
No,
5-speed?
just a 5-speed.
5-speed, 120 valve.
180.
Yep.
I did actually at Manchester Foreign. We did a KO4.
Yep.
Supporting mods, whatever. Nothing crazy. It was a bolt-on
Just a fun car to
situation.
drive, though, I
Tuned it.
bet.
It was, dude. It was so much fun. So comfortable. I did a full GLI interior. Well, I kept the black leathers, but did GLI dash, all that stuff. Yeah, it was on air on the smoothies. Tuned. It was just a cool car.
Yeah.
You had that for a while.
I had
too.
that for a bit. That's what I ended up trading for the E36.
Okay, yep.
Yeah,
The
that's-
clutch the clutch started to go out on the wagon, and it was kind of at that point for me where like I didn't have all the money in the world, and I was like, all right, so it's either going to be I do the clutch over the winter, or it's time to move on before the clutch is actually gone. And I say the clutch was slipping. It was on the highway in 4th gear doing a pull from low RPM. It would I would think it's slipping, but it was never confirmed. So I was just like, you know what, it's time. I think this is going to happen. I'm going to be done with it, whatever. And then, yeah, traded it, and I regret it. That thing was really cool. It was fun,
nice
but
one.
so it was supposed to be a daily. I bought it off of this girl I knew from Milford. She daily drove it bone stock. There was one winter she had bald tires. She got stuck on her road in the snow, and she said, "Yep, I'm done." She had the car towed because she couldn't get it home, and she went out the next day and bought a new car, and put the wagon up for sale. So I was like, well, this is awesome. So I bought it as a daily because at the time I had a Mark III VR with a shaved bay.
Yep.
That was someone's project, kind of half finished, kind of whatever. And I was like, well, I need a daily driver. And then it spiraled, and I bought air for it, and bought wheels, and did the turbo, and notched the frame, and did all these things. And then
my swap from my car
Engine-
came out
engine,
of
yep,
that Mark
yep,
III.
I remember. Yep.
yeah, and it was just at some point someone when they shaved the bay and tucked the harness, they extended the harness with all black wires. So you dig into this, a good 2-3 foot section of wiring, and it's all black. And you're like, okay, if I ever have to chase an electrical issue in this car, it's never gonna happen.
I hucked that shit in the trash. I got a bone stock harness, sent it to the dude in Pennsylvania. I'm just drawing a blank.
Talking about Eurocraft?
Eurocraft.
Matt? Yeah.
Yep. I sent it to him,
Yeah.
paid him, he extended it,
He's the man.
deleted everything I needed out of it. But yeah.
I bought a bunch of parts for it. It was, the VR ran well. It moved. I drove it a couple times, but I bought a Euro hatch for it that actually already came red, so that was slick. I did the interior. I did a bunch of stuff to it, but I don't know. It just got to the point where I'm like, what's the longevity of this car? What happens if I actually need to do something to this? It's just not. It doesn't make sense, especially for someone who didn't know a whole lot at the time. Again, for a long time, I knew enough to work on my own stuff or to fix something or to try at least, but I was also very good at relying on my friends who were very nice to help me and do all those things. And,
I learned a lot about an LS when you bought that Corvette.
yeah, that was a bit of a mistake too. So I guess we'll roll right into that.
Yeah,
Keep it kind of going. So traded the wagon for the M3. Drove the M3 for a while, wrapped it, put wheels on it, had fun with it, whatever. Our friend's 30th birthday party. We were having a good time. It was still middle of the day. We all started doing burnouts in the road, that was the plan. It wasn't like a weird, crazy thing.
It was 4th of July, or is
No,
one
it
of
was
the
a dirty
holidays?
30. It was
Oh,
just a
it's just a
30th
30th.
birthday for a friend of ours. Motorcycle burnouts, truck burnouts, car burnouts, whatever. In a residential neighborhood. So that was nice. The rear tires were showing cords by the time I was done. And they weren't very old. So we were hammering it. But it was at my boss's house. And so I was at the time, actually, he wasn't my boss, but it was at my boss's house. And I left it parked on the road, got a ride home. I was too intoxicated to drive, and I couldn't really drive the car because of the tires. So I was like, you know what? We'll get a ride. We'll be responsible, whatever. 7:30, 8 o'clock the next morning, I wake up, a little foggy, groggy from the night before, and I get a phone call from my boss. Hey, so I was backing out of my driveway to go get breakfast, and I backed into your car. I said, okay. And mind you, he daily drives a Ram truck. So I said, all right, cool. And I said, you know what? Go to breakfast, go do your thing. I'll meet you up at the house later on. I'm like, it's not a big, it is what it is. It's already done. Please don't stress about it, whatever.
Nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing I can do about it. And so I get up there and it doesn't look so bad. Driver's side fenders caved in a little bit. Luckily the bed was right above one of the front VSKF. So like it didn't smoke the wheel, which I was definitely a little bit nervous about. The hood was a little crinkled. I mean, it was all right enough, but it looked straight. And I popped the hood and it hit perfectly on that front frame rail. The one that just comes out where all the engine and everything's mounted to, and it just kinked it. I was like, all right. I'm like, I don't know if it's good. I don't know what it is. So we got it down to the shop. Could I have straightened it out and potentially driven it again? Yes. Would it have ever driven correctly or aligned correctly
Probably
or
not.
anything? Probably not. And then at the time I'm like, oh, here's my chance to turn something into a drift car. Like, that thought starts going in your head and whatnot. And, I ended up going the route of insurance. So they claimed it. The insurance company gave me the runaround because I was like, at the time, E36 M3s are worth a decent little chunk of change, whether it be, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand. The insurance company kept coming back and telling me, well, there's no comparable vehicles in your area. So we can't give you an accurate estimate of what your car's worth. I'm like, well, I don't care about the area. I'm like, look at E36 M3s. I'm like, they're going for money. I think they ended up giving me 8 grand for the car, which was worth it. It was a couple months of pushing and fighting and, I need more money. Granted, I ended up making a decent amount off of it, totaling it out, but I wasn't going to take a loss from the insurance company. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's their job.
Yeah. Did you send them comparables? Because that's what I did.
I
had to
sent
do
them
that
a bunch
once.
of them, and
Yeah, I
they
remember.
fought me tooth and nail.
I remember at the get-togethers talking about it.
Was it Geico?
I don't remember who it was. I also might have told them it was Dakar Yellow when it was a wrap, but it raised the value a little bit. I tried doing the best I could. So I ended up I think they wanted to give me 8. I ended up taking 7 because I bought the car back.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled the wheels off of it, pulled the Broadway static coilovers off of it. Dove gray interior, ripped all that out because it was really clean and sold that, put in wonky interior. The car left the shop on 2x4s as struts. I put 2x4s in where the struts were and just sent it on its way because I knew the Broadways were worth money. And yeah, I ended up selling the parts off the car and made a couple more grand off of it then. And then that's when I bought the Corvette because I figured, why not? C5 Corvette. I was 25 years old
and
at the
you
time.
got a good deal on it.
I bought it was a rebuilt title. Which I didn't care about at the time because I'm not a purist. I'm not anything. I just wanted to drive one and beat the crap out of it and have a good time. So yeah, bought one with a rebuilt title. It ran awesome, drove great. I had plans. I wanted to put the VSKFs on it at some point because I still had them, but it ended up making more sense just to sell them and, whatever. Yeah, it stayed stock. I beat on it. I started driving it one day. It was right before winter, and it smelt like fuel and was misfiring so heavy. And at the time, again, not knowing a whole lot, I'm like, okay, whatever. I parked it for a little bit. We ended up towing it to Justin's shop at the time to work on it, and it was a bad injector. The injector, and then so long story long is the injector ended up filling the cylinder with fuel. And then went to start it after repairing a bunch of stuff, and it made one loud click clunk and then nothing. What it ended up doing too is it's all the aluminum, obviously the blocks and stuff. It ended up snapping the starter off the block.
The ear?
Yeah, the ear snapped off.
Wow.
So this was when it was a weird time. Like I said, it clicked. We're like, okay, the starter broke off. So we didn't know if anything else. We didn't think anything else was broken. We thought it was a bad starter. Got an ear welded back on, put the starter back on, wouldn't fire. couldn't figure it out for the life of us. What ended up happening is it hydrolocked itself.
Yeah.
Cylinder was full of fuel. Went to start it. It
Bent
bent the
the rod.
rod, and as bending the rod, it broke the starter off. So it was
Right.
kind of just like a whole combination of everything.
But you also didn't know
a
that was
powerful
going on
starter.
when it ended up at
At
my
the
house.
time, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
We thought it was something in the heads. Because that's not entirely true. It would run. It just would make a heck of a knock clunk. It sounded top end. Literally rebuilt the entire top end of that vehicle with AutoZone parts because why not? They're all Dorman. Or AC Delco. They were all technically factory-ish parts.
Chevy. Yeah.
And yeah, we did the heads in Al's garage. Justin was
We backed it in.
massive,
Yeah,
helping
because
us.
I told Justin, I'm like, you tell me what to do. I'll yank it all apart.
Flat rate Al was on the case. The
I
man
just
was hammering.
hammered this car apart.
The only
Like a
thing,
wild dog.
literally, the only thing they all sat back and made me do was torque the heads because it's
That's good.
miserable.
Dude, it was.
Glad
I-
somebody had a torque wrench.
I want to say.
No, I'm kidding, Al. I know you torque stuff.
Oh no, I took all the stuff I needed home, but like, yeah, it was some crazy number, and I was like, I'm not doing
and
this.
you got to do it in the pattern, and there's 8 of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
if you're
this and
snapping a bolt, it's on you.
it's
Yeah.
on me.
But it was
Um,
there was also
But that had a bent rod when.
It ended up having a bent rod, so
Oh,
we
bummer.
fixed. We replaced everything in the heads, thinking that was it because nothing stood out to us. Nothing looked too
Yep.
crazy, and that moment where you think you fixed something and then you start it up and it's still doing it, or
Yeah.
you drive it and it's still doing it. That moment, that feeling of defeat. I feel like that's what it was when we fired it up, and there was still that. It wasn't. I don't know if I want to call it a knock. It sounded so light. It sounded top end. That's why none of us thought anything more than that.
yeah.
Probably just a little bit
learned,
of play in the
Just-
rod. Yep.
I learned
and-
all about push rods.
Yeah.
Justin gave me a whole breakdown because I was like, "What the hell is this?" I've been Volkswagen, BMW.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
nothing about American cars
Yeah.
whatsoever. So Justin's giving me a whole breakdown on how everything works and why they do it.
Yeah.
Push
Because
rods
he's
are
a
weird.
nerd and just, he likes that shit.
Yeah. No, so I ended up bringing it. I wasn't working at Kent's yet, but I brought it.
Well, we were
back
trying to
Milford.
talk you into buying a junkyard block.
Exactly.
We're like, we'll just change it out.
At the time, I didn't have the finances.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me. And it ran, it moved. It was good enough to sell, in my opinion. I bought the car for $7,000, put a little bit of money into it, obviously, trying to fix the head and whatnot. I sold it for $5,800. So not a massive loss, to be honest. Like, it's probably the one time I've really taken the L on like a marketplace deal or a vehicle I've owned. Because I think the reason I've owned so many cars is I'm always thinking about what's next, or always thinking about, well, how much money could I make off of this? And I feel like that's also why I never dove into anything too far, is because, well, I'm going to cross that threshold of, hey, I'm not going to be able to make as much as I'm putting into it. So you kind of keep,
You
keep it
back
tame
off
a little
and
bit,
get rid of it while you can.
get rid of it while you can. Exactly. But no, and then I sold the Corvette. I kind of messed around after that. I bought a Lexus, an LS 400.
Oh, it was clean.
It was so clean. Grandma owned. The thing was perfect.
I was
What
so
year?
jealous.
Uh,
2000, I think.
yeah,
It was
something around
it was
there.
prior gen from yours.
Oh, so
right?
the 2000 was that silver
Ye-
body style? Would
yeah,
have
it was
the
2
big
gens
square
older than
headlights.
the one I
Big
had.
Oh,
set,
so
yeah.
real square.
Like right
Yeah,
before the
it was a
430s.
98 to 01 because there was a
Yeah.
facelift.
Those are sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool. And
Is there a kid like Caleb or somebody? Somebody had one that. Never mind.
There's a local guy that
There
has
is a
one, it's all
local guy,
a
smashed
yeah.
up.
black one. Was the car black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he did detailing.
Yeah.
I think it was,
I
it was
can't.
Caleb.
That
But
Caleb
the thing was
sounds right.
cool.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
cool.
remember it was, they just looked like that. That's the body
the
style.
big
I
body.
love.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's got
Al's
the-
looked like a dentist drove it. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Well, you had
100%.
an early 90s one.
I had a
2000.
98.
98.
Oh, was it a
Yep,
98?
it was a 98. It was the first year of that like facelift.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wasn't bad.
No.
It just
Oh.
was very
See
rounded.
that facelift, like that 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah.
That's the best
I
generation
love
for the LS.
Yeah.
I think.
generation.
I like the
um,
square ones.
But no, at the time I was also really into like the stance thing, like whatever. So I wanted the big body hammered on big wheels. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I bought it. Didn't end up doing anything with it. I realized that the LS400 stuff is kind of hard to find and it's
And
expensive.
it's not just like
suspension
one
bits.
arm or two
It's
arm.
not,
Like
and-
to get what you want out of it,
Yeah.
you have to buy every single suspension piece.
You're buying it from that Serial 9 company, which they make amazing products, but you're paying for it. And again, at the time, I just didn't. I had enough to, I could buy coilovers, I could do the smaller stuff, but to buy a couple $1,000s worth of arms just really wasn't in it. And then obviously you're buying 19s or 20s to put on it. You're buying something massive, and it's just so all of it was like, I think I'm gonna. So I ended up selling it I made money on it, whatever it was, but I mean, I know I made at least $1,000 off of that car. Sold it, met some kid in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot in Massachusetts, and it was on its way. He ended up texting me months later, being like, "Well, dude, like, do you have the title?" And I was like, "No, I told you I didn't have it because it must have
Because
been
it was
pre
older.
2000."
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Yeah, dude, New Hampshire doesn't issue titles," which is, I think that's the biggest nightmare via marketplace or whatever you might want to call it, like to sell to someone out of state. They just don't understand that it actually is as easy as it should be. They just don't know how to do it, and everyone's so scared of not having a title. But regardless, I think the real reason I sold it is because that supercharged ABA came up for, well, didn't come up for sale, but came up for sale.
Yeah, that's
can't
literally,
remember.
you saw it and
You're
like, all right, I got to get rid of the LS so I can buy this.
Black Mark III Jetta, 2-liter ABA. The car was super well known. Had a PVW sticker in the windshield.
Toilet John.
Yep. Toilet John. It was on TH lines
Yes.
forever. The thing was super cool. It stage 3 supercharger on it. I can't remember the Bondbrenner.
Yep.
The thing sounded like an ambulance driving down the road. It was wild. That car was so much fun. Full custom diamond stitched tan leather and brown interior. Custom audio. It was a PVW car back in the day. It was sick. Was super excited about that. It had a little bit of quirks. It had been sitting for a bit and kind of ran like crap. I did injectors. I did a couple other things. Got it running well, drove it. I think I started digging into it a little bit more and realized it was rotted.
Like the floors weren't.
John didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I talked to him about it afterwards. Not like hating on him, not giving him a hard time, just being like, oh, like I wanted to let him know why I was trying to sell it. And I told him, and he was like, dude, the apologies, you know.
Did it sit for a long time?
It sat for a long time. It sat outside. It sat in his garage.
Did
it was
he build it?
He built it.
Yeah.
Like with, if I'm not mistaken, with like DTM back in the day. And
I was just saying I think him and Ryan LeBlanc
was it
were
John
brothers.
Albert?
I don't know his last name.
There was a black one that they
John
did.
Malcolmson.
Oh,
he's out of Brookline now.
okay. It wasn't Black Magic Pearl.
No, I think that thing was just factory black.
Because DTM did another one that was supercharged 2-liter.
Okay,
Yep.
But that was when Ian Brandon owned DTM.
Yeah.
So maybe they did multiple cars.
Yeah, they might have. But no, that car was super. It was like, I remember when I started in the Volkswagen scene, seeing that car places, being like, oh my god, like that's the pinnacle. And like Mark IIIs will always have a soft spot in my heart.
Jetta or GTI?
It was a Jetta.
I know, but which would you?
I'm a Jetta guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a Mark. So what would you prefer, GLX over the 2-liter ABA with, if you know, obviously body wise, like looks wise, which would you prefer? Just because I feel like the GLX has, you know, the smoke taillights, and
I feel like in my head I want to mix and match.
Yeah.
I know that might sound silly. I do like the smoke tails, but I also like, I don't know. That's a hard one, I think. I think a mix and match is honestly my answer. Yep. If I had to choose like a base, I think I would go ABA.
Yeah.
I think I would go kind of bone stock 2-liter, because not that the other stuff's irreversible, but like you can kind of start from the bottom and make, and to be honest, as like we talk about marketplace, you can find the GLX parts. Yep. You can also find the ABA parts, but to start from the basis and be like, hey, I'm going to move towards this, that works out well too.
That and the GLXs, I feel with the side skirts, they get rusty.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so if you don't have it there, you know, you see
you never really have to worry about it.
You don't see the rust as much. You know, they all rust.
Yeah,
but,
all of them, every single one of them rot. But yeah, no, it was crusty, and it was one of those things. Again, okay, if I do the body work to get this thing fixed, I'm now going to be at a point where it's not worth as much as it is. And not to just go down my list of vehicles, I ended up trading it for a Mark VI.
Yeah, you didn't have that long.
No, put coilovers and wheels on the Mark VI, sold it for a bunch of money to some kid from Massachusetts who, again, called me a couple months later and said, hey, this is your fault. I was driving down the highway and I ripped the wiring harness out of my vehicle. I said, that's really cool. That's not my fault. I said, the car was very low. You knew this and you were driving it. I was like, that has nothing to do with me. So always the fun marketplace stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's a quick list. I was like, I know I touched on, I feel like I've been talking forever, but I touched on the maroon wagon. That was one of my favorite cars. Yellow E36 was also one of my favorite vehicles.
I was a big fan of the silver Mark III Jetta.
Silver Mark III Jetta was cool in the K Sports, the Kelleners.
Had a bunch of cool parts on it.
Bunch of cool rare, you know, I did like the Pink Floyd buttons in the dash. A factory antenna delete, which I thought was super cool. Had a Volkswagen part number in the backside of it and everything too, which was just kind of cool and rare. I think I still have it somewhere.
You kept it. I remember you kept
sitting
it
somewhere in a drawer. I I don't know what I did interior wise. I think I just did black Mark III leather because I will also go on record saying that Mark III black leather is the best leather in the entire world. Don't care who you are. Don't care what you have to say about it.
It holds up pretty
I know
well,
Jonah
too.
will also agree because it was every Mark III we ever bought. It was fine black leather. There's not another
Yeah.
option. The party seats are cool. All the
Yeah,
factory
they're
stuff.
cool
The
for
Pink
what they
Floyd
are.
seats were sick. Like to find that stuff. Because I think that's also when it became a bit of a nerd with Mark III's, realizing that in Europe they did all this really cool like
Bon
additions
Jovi
and
edition.
exactly. I had a
Yeah.
Bon Jovi shift knob,
Yeah.
a bunch of weird stuff, and like that's when I was like, oh, European eBay. I'm like, this is the
Yeah.
coolest thing in the world, and you're buying all these weird rare parts off of it. But no, that on the Kellner K Sports was cool. I ended up having two silver Mark III ABAs at that same time. I bought one for whatever reason because probably it was $500. Beat it up pretty good, and then I found another one that was actually in better shape. So I kind of made 2 out of 1. Ended up having Zach paint that car,
Yep.
which was my first like real experience in like having major work done to a vehicle. And it came out so cool. 2 days later, I destroyed the front fender. It was static on 17s, and it was a lot lower than it ever should have been. And I was turning in a parking lot, and it just grabbed that fender and yanked it underneath the car. That hurt the soul a lot, and it also hurt to have to go back to Zach and be like, "Hey, so your nice,
Been
silver
there.
arrow paint job, I ruined
Was he
it."
pissed?
I mean, he
was
didn't tell
like,
me he
"Come
was, but
on,
I
man."
definitely don't think he was super
Yeah.
happy with me.
DJ
Um,
getting the S4 painted,
Yep.
pushing it. Did he push it into the spot?
No, he
He
was
just backed it in.
backing it into his spot, and he hit a rock wall at his house.
Like the day he got it from the
So
from
the
the paint
paint's
shop.
still wet.
DJ
Yeah.
has always said, put the first scratch in it yourself, or life will do it for you. And that was the 100%. Go underneath and scratch the rocker panel on the bottom. Do something. But if you don't, you're gonna back into the rock wall at your house, and it's gonna be all over.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, the silver ABA was cool. Trying to think of other things that I really liked that I've owned. I think the Silverado, that 1500 I
Yep.
had, the silver one, that was a really cool truck.
I think that was like your first like deep dive into like
Yeah.
really modifying.
Yeah, I think that was probably the most modified at the time. That was the most modified vehicle I had done, and it still even wasn't that crazy. The rear end, we flipped the axle on top of the leaf spring, so it would be lower. Did a small notch in the frame, basically a bolt-on situation. We ended up welding it, but it was a bolt-on situation. And then they sell a lot of kits. Obviously, it's a Chevy, very popular vehicle. You can get the 3 front, 5-inch, or 3-inch in the front, 5-inch in the rear drop, but you can buy these drops that way.
Mhm.
So a 3.5 up to a 5.7 you can buy. I ended up making mine like a 6.9 drop ish. We went a little bit lower than it was, or what it was supposed to be. But that truck was so cool. It was a 6-cylinder, 5-speed. I went with a 6-cylinder because of the oil pan height. The 6-cylinder is so much higher. Oh, I also got the truck for $1,000 just to throw that out there too. Rocker panels were rotted right out of it. Cab corners were junk. I bought plastic rocker panel cab corner covers, color matched them, cut out all the rot, and 3M taped them to the side of the truck, and you could have never told. It went up into a body line. It was perfect.
That's awesome.
But I didn't want to dump a bunch of money into it. It was just fun. That's all I wanted out of it, and it was cool. I had it originally. It was on 20 by 10-inch rims, like big truck, like bro wheels you
Yep.
would see, but I put rubber band tires on them. That truck dragged the subframe against everything. That thing was so low, and it was wild to see so many people be like, "Oh, it's a really cool S10," and I'm like, "No, this is a
It's a full size.
this is a full
Yeah.
size pickup." It was a single cab short bed. That truck was really cool, and then I ended up finding a quadra-steer rear bed for it. So Chevy in that generation made the
The
four-wheel steel.
with the wider arches.
Yeah, and they were fiberglass, so they didn't rot. Every Silverado bed you've ever seen is rotted. So that was kind of cool. It was, the paint code was off a little bit, but it was close enough that I felt fine with it. And then I ended up bumping up to 22s, and I ran 22 by 10s in the front and 22 by 12s in the rear for a staggered setup on a pickup truck, which is also something that, it's done in like the drag racing aspect,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But to run a staggered, like, quote, stance setup on a Silverado
cool.
pickup was wild. And like when I say they were rubber band tires, they were
Oh yeah.
they were stretched. Like there was room in between the tire and the lip of the wheel.
We're gonna have to
Um,
share all 48 cars that he's owned.
I mean,
Maybe not all of them.
I guess we'll touch on that too, just to throw it out, because I've owned a lot of different vehicles. A lot of them being Volkswagens, huge Volkswagens when I first started into it. I said my first car was the Ranger, but right after that I got a Mark II Jetta, 2-liter swapped. Again, didn't know anything, thought it was super cool. It was a Mark II. I didn't care about anything else. I had a really crappy Mark III in there, a good handful of all of them. My mom gave me her Mark IV Jetta, or Mark IV Golf. Sorry, that was a manual. She couldn't drive manual anymore. Handed it to me, and that was my first car accident. Stopped at a four-way intersection, said I was good, drove through the four-way intersection, and I wasn't good. Box truck came out of nowhere and smoked the front of that thing. But yeah, bunch of random vehicles, a lot of Volkswagens, couple 240s, had an S14, probably 2 or 3 S13s. Yeah, a bunch of random stuff.
So what are you working on now?
I currently have a 1986 F350. It's a crew cab dually, 2-wheel drive with a 6.9 diesel. Ford's original diesel. Came NA. This one does have a turbo kit on it. ATS made the turbo kit. Super popular back in the day. It's an ATS 087. It was made for the year of 87. That's how they did it.
Oh, wow.
ATS then went on to make the factory turbo for the 7.3 IDI, which was the next generation. But no, that started off. Again, I've been blabbering forever, but there's a massive story behind that too. It sat in someone's backyard for 25 years. One owner besides myself, gentleman bought it brand new. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Marty report. It's for Ford. It's huge. It basically breaks the whole thing down for you. How many were made in this color with this trim, this
Wow.
color with these packages, and it tells you all of the packages that your vehicle came with from the factory, which is super cool. It was made in Ontario, Canada, and was shipped down to Danvers, Mass, and then sold to the gentleman who owned it out of Nashua, New Hampshire.
How'd you find it?
So Marketplace.
Nice.
So what ended up happening? Someone from Vermont bought it, and it didn't even make it off the kid's trailer. He went down to Nashua, picked the truck up, was on his way back to Vermont. I messaged him about it, and I ended up trading him a set of wheels. My black truck had 24 by 14 wide wheels on it at the time. And yeah, just straight traded him a set of wheels for a truck that I knew absolutely nothing about, but I thought it was cool.
Did you just tow it?
He towed it to me.
Oh, cool.
He brought it down from Vermont, dropped it off at my dooryard,
right.
and I put the wheels in the back of his truck, and he left. So yeah, truck sat for 25 years. It has 42,000 original miles on it. It made a couple trips to Florida. The coolest part about this, so it's borderline a time capsule. Don't get me wrong, the truck's junk. Cab's rotted. I kind of like it. I'm keeping it. That staying that way for the most part, unless it was structural, then I would do something about it. But frame's clean as can be. I ended up finding the original owner's checkbook, like receipts in there. There's writing from 1987 when he took the truck for the first time to go buy parts at the hardware store, like all that stuff. There was a bunch of his mail underneath the back seat. And from what I've gathered doing, because I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff too, is I did a bunch of research on the guy just to see what it lived, where it was, the whole 9 yards, whatever. And yeah, it lived its entire life in Nashua, New Hampshire. He was a construction worker for himself, did odd jobs, whatever it might have been. So, there's Ace Hardware written in there. There's Jimmy's Paint Store. There's a bunch of random stuff, from back in the 80s, which I thought was super cool.
Nashua Paint and Wallpaper. I worked there.
And then to be even creepier, obviously his address is on some of the information. So, you can do the Google search of the address and you can go back to certain years. And a lot of the times you can get back to like 06, 05, like something like that. And not this truck specifically, but there is a single cab version of this truck parked in his driveway with a service body on the back of it. So what I can gather is that he had one that was his work truck, and then this one was the daily driver family car. It was a crew cab or whatever. And he owned property in Florida. I know the truck made trips back and forth. I actually found from what's left of it, it looks like a parking ticket from Florida. Inside the truck when I got it. But yeah, no, so I bought it because I wanted an old Ford pickup, and no one really has the bull noses. It was kind of in the right price range. He wanted the trade, so it just kind of worked out well. I didn't know a thing about them when I first got it, and it just kind of, again, started snowballing. The motor, like I said, it sat for 25 years. It had a 1999 inspection sticker on the windshield, which was just cool.
Wow.
It's still there. I left it there.
A lot of work involved getting it running, or
so I didn't know anything about, not to begin with. I didn't know anything about the 6.9s, the diesels. They're just I wasn't a big diesel guy. I had friends with a lot of them, but I never dove into it myself. Come to find out, it's power, ground, air and fuel. It's nothing absurd. But I didn't know anything about the motor, and sitting for that long, that scared me even more. So I ended up finding a parts vehicle, a parts truck, a extended cab, single rear wheel, 6.9 diesel with not a single body panel on it. The story behind that one is the guy blew the transmission out of it, went to put a trans in it, started looking underneath it, realized his cab was rotted, and said, well, I'm not going to put a trans in it. The truck's junk. So he sold it to someone who took all the body panels off of it, and then I ended up buying the whole truck for $400 with the motor in it, a full dashboard with the full wiring harness, because I was afraid of my wiring harness sitting for that long. There was signs of rodents, and I didn't know what had been chewed through. So to get a motor, which I wanted, and to also get the entire wiring harness made me so much happier. Um, Mind you, on my own, I've never swapped a motor by myself, and I didn't really know what I was dealing with, but I figured why not. And it was 3 weekends. It was a white truck. I pulled the white parts truck in, ripped the motor out of it, pulled my red truck in, ripped the motor. The next weekend, pulled my red truck in, ripped the motor out of it. And then the weekend after that, pulled the red truck back in and put the motor in it. The motor came with the ATS turbo kit. I knew it was from what I had gathered, it was a good running motor. Like I said, the transmission blew up and the guy just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So, that motor originally was mounted to a manual transmission. The one in my truck's an automatic. So there's some things that I didn't realize I needed when doing the swap, and ended up finding out later that I did. And I was like, oh, now I have to scavenge for
I
parts
say, was
that
it
are
too late? You'd
40
already
years
gotten
old.
rid of the parts car?
I had gotten kind of lucky, so I did get rid of the parts car. It didn't have much on it, but I did get rid of my factory motor. A local junkyard to us, good friends with the guy Dana that's up there, and I gave it to him. When he took the parts truck, I was like, I don't need it. It's a boat anchor for me at this point. Hindsight, I kind of wish I kept it, because I would love to like actually build one now that I know more about it. But yeah, no. So there's a valve. I don't know how to say it. It's for vacuum for the transmission shifting. It's an automatic 3-speed transmission, no overdrive, which is miserable. It's screaming RPMs and you're doing 45 miles an hour down the road, but there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, the shifting in it is powered by vacuum, and there's a mount right on the side of the injection pump. I didn't realize I needed that. The other motor had a manual trans, so I didn't come with that. So I'm like, okay, how do I find one of these 40-year-old plastic vacuum valves on this motor? They're all gone. They're all junk. No one can get one. You can't buy one new. So I found some company that makes like a throttle, like a cable version of it. Mounts to the side of your trans, you run it up to your throttle cable, and it kind of tells it when it needs to shift, basically, is what I figured out. That was one of the hurdles. Turbo kits don't fit very nicely in those trucks. You got to do a little massaging of the firewall. The automatic dipstick tube no longer fits where it has to route up on the back of the firewall. There's a couple weird things that I was not sure of. And then it's an 8-cylinder. So the manifolds meet in the back to the exhaust and then go up to the turbo, and then a downpipe comes out of that. So that was interesting figuring out too, is being like, okay, how does this actually work? Because I haven't done much with a turbo motor personally. I had the 180 that I had someone put a turbo on, but I don't really know a lot about them, especially, and then again, it comes to diesels, so I know even less. But no, I think that was a super cool swap to do. And I put it in, I got it bolted up. I did have to modify one of the ears of the transmission a little bit to fit the turbo kit, which was just taking a cutoff wheel and cutting off one of the ears. It wasn't important. Didn't have any bolts or anything through it. It was just there.
Just to make room.
Just to make enough room to fit it. And mind you, I'm doing the swap by myself. So I've got the motor on a crane going into the vehicle. I'm underneath the vehicle with a jack on the transmission, trying to line it all up.
Yeah.
My fingers are in between everything that's coming together. It was brutal. And then I think, a lot of people will have this moment too, where you're going to put a motor in a car, and all of a sudden it just slips together. You're fighting it for hours. You get up, you have a sip of water, you do whatever. And then you come back and you're all of a sudden like, wait, why did that go together?
I've went home for the day.
Exactly.
And then come in the next morning and been like,
defeated.
Bink, and just pops right in.
Fresh eyes.
Yeah.
It's a real thing, like to step away for a minute, but no, put a motor in it. And then just kind of started driving it. I told myself I just wanted to put miles on it. I've had the plan all along to kind of do what I'm doing now, but I was like, I need to take this step by step. I ended up doing a small drop, 3-inch in the 4-inch in the front, 4-inch in the rear suspension drop. And just slowly dialing things in, making sure it runs right, making sure I did injectors in it. And mind you, these are all first times for me. I had never dove this far into a vehicle really, especially motor wise, but No, got it running and driving well, and I put 2,500 miles on it last year, just kind of putting it around. Didn't drive it too much once it got cold out. It's just it takes forever to warm up. My commute to work's 10 minutes, so like by the time I'm at work, the truck has heat. Um, but yeah, no, it's been so fun. So this winter, I had a couple ideas. I wasn't really gonna mess with it. I thought about just driving it the way it is next year, for the following season, this upcoming season, and that slowly took a turn, or not slowly, it took a turn. I ended up ordering a full 4-link kit, C-notch for the rear end, air ride all the way around. It has airlift 3P management, um, custom bag setup in the front, and then, I mean, I'm going to say a standard 4-link in the rear, but regardless, taking the leaf springs out, welding in 4-link suspension, doing the notch and cutting the bed and doing all these things to make it what it is now. But it is the coolest vehicle I've ever owned.
That's awesome.
It's just it blows my mind, and the amount of time and effort I put into it is like nothing I've ever done too. So I think there's a side of that to me that's like even cooler.
Do you have a
I've
bed for it? Are you gonna?
Yeah, I put the bed on it
okay,
yesterday. It tucks 16-inch wheel.
I was gonna say,
in the
how
back.
low is it?
It's the running boards are about 2 inches off the ground.
Wow.
And
cool.
that's with a current tire setup, which is a 225/75. I've done some research. I'm going to put a 215/60 on it, so I should get like another 1.5 inches. It's 3 inches smaller overall, but with the way diameter works, I should get another 1.5 inches drop
Yep.
out of it, which
That's
is
cool.
going to put me where I want to be. I want the running boards to be on the ground when it's aired out.
Such
just
a big truck,
dude. It's a
too.
full. It's the Titanic, and
Does
it's
it
just
sound
sitting
good?
on the ground.
Like, does it sound pretty?
It sounds like an old clunky diesel.
Yeah.
It makes 10 psi, which isn't a lot, but it's enough to make the noises and have
I was
some
just saying,
fun.
does it make the noises?
Yeah, it makes the noises. And because it's so old and rotted, you can hear everything. So like you can hear the turbo that's sitting right in front of you. It's super cool. Truck runs awesome. It drives great. I haven't driven it since it's been bagged yet. Obviously, it's been a week realistically since it's been done, I'm gonna say. But no, even just looking at it parked in the parking lot at work, it's wild. I mean, tucking 16-inch wheel in the rear of a full
It's like
size
a 30-foot long.
like
vehicle.
1-ton dually pickup.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
We'll keep you talking. So explain a little bit about the front suspension setup that we were talking about in the kitchen before we started.
So Ford, in all their intelligence, made a twin I-beam, is what they call it for the 2-wheel drive vehicles. It's literally just 2 long beams that go from side to side. Originally it came with kingpins, like I was telling you guys, but I converted mine to ball joint front end just for ease of alignment, B, ease of getting parts.
I was just say replacement parts.
Yeah, and the arms, the drop arms I'm using, they call them dream beams in the front. They don't make them for my generation pickup, so I had to convert regardless. Yeah, it's been a lot of figuring it out. What bag fits where, what mount, how high do I need the bag up? I went into it very nervous that I wasn't going to be able to get low enough. Because the spring was only a certain, the spring was 12 inches long, I think, right around there. So I'm like, okay, well, with this 2-inch bottom mount, the bag's technically 3 inches when you're fully aired out, like when it's compressed, and then the top mount's another 2 or 3 inches. I was like, am I going to have enough? And I overshot it in the other way, where when it was aired out, I notched the frame so the tie rod can sit up inside the frame. I did the Volkswagen thing and took a 2.5-inch hole saw and cut my frame so the tie rod would sit up inside of it. Again, it's a 1-ton pickup.
It's a dirty game.
And so yeah, like I said, I ended up going too far in the other direction. So like at 130 psi in the bag, it's
too low.
not even at ride height.
Yeah.
So I ended up ordering 5-inch spacers for the bag, and then it was a little too high, didn't air out far enough, but I have, diameter size restrictions from where the spring was, from it rubbing on the beam or rubbing on the frame. So it's just going to be a lot of puzzle pieces. And the tough part is buying bags. They're $100 a piece. So it's not like you're, I can buy, this $25 part and see if it fits. It's like, okay, next week when I get paid again and it makes sense because I'm an adult and trying to be an adult, I'll buy another pair of bags. But I started off with a 6-inch diameter Slam Series bags. I ended up buying the 5.5-inch ones. They'll be here tomorrow, hopefully. I bought them from Bag Riders, which, like we all know, massive shout out to Bag Riders.
Yeah.
Just being in Vermont, it's extremely convenient for us in New Hampshire. Their customer service is great. I called them when I originally ordered all the parts. I ordered it from Switch Suspension, who does all of like the 4-link and the truck more or less side of things. And then I needed 2 compressors for my airlift stuff, and I also needed bags, and I did all that through Bag Riders. And when I called Bag Riders to be like, hey, I'm thinking this, this, and this, and I don't remember the gentleman's name I spoke to up there, but he was like, well, I think you should probably go with this rear bag, go with the 7-inch instead of the 8. The 8's going to ride a little bit stiffer. I think the 7's going to be better for what you're doing, and just really talked to me like through all of it. So that was super cool. And that's when I decided to go with a 6-inch front bag, just because we were worried about weight. Come to find out, the front end of that truck is not as heavy as I had anticipated, so I shouldn't have been that worried about it. That's why I'm now downsizing to a smaller bag. Still has 1,900 pounds of lift force from one bag. So if the front end of my pickup weighs more than a Toyota Camry, I don't think I can believe that. But so yeah, the front suspension, twin I-beam, ditched the springs, ditched the kingpin setup, went all ball joint. And yeah, just trying to figure out, I had to modify the top. I'm using the original shock tower that's mounted on the frame for my top bag mount. I had to kind of modify that because it dipped down in the middle. It just wasn't a flat surface. So modified that a little bit. Stock shock mount, that's all in the same spot. I did have to cut the inner plastic fenders so the tires can sit up inside of it, which was a really cool feeling. Like, you've seen pictures and videos of trucks, done up, and you can see the wheels in the front tub, and it's crazy. And then to like actually pop my hood now and be like, oh, that's my tire sitting next to everything else underneath it. I'm like, that's insane to me.
Yeah, the engine's sitting like between the two wheels,
basically,
which is awesome. It's a
wild.
cool look.
Yeah, it is. And like when the truck's aired up, it looks like your grandfather's truck. You can't tell anything. There's nothing crazy modified about the outside of it. The interior's bone stock. All my air ride is currently mounted behind the rear seat against the wall. It's done nicely, and I like the way it looks, but it's out of sight, out of mind. Like when I pull into somewhere, it's going to be a bone stock pickup truck, and then I just hit a button, and the thing's dragging the running boards against the ground, which is just fun. Why not, right?
Yep.
And it's useless. It's a 2-wheel drive pickup truck. Who cares?
Yeah, you're never going to do anything truck related with it.
So many people are already upset about it. The old timers on the internet, on the bullnose pages and stuff. Why would you do this? I'm like, dude, because what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
It was it was sitting.
I traded a set of wheels for
realistically, it was going to end up in the junkyard. So if anything, I saved it a little bit. It just might hate its life a little bit more now. What are those memes you see that's like, let me die? And it's like the old, that's literally me right now with this pickup truck.
But it's that old generation of Ford. Those things, I don't know. I haven't seen them in a while, but there was like a span of like 3 or 4 months where they were always popping up on Bring a Trailer.
Yeah.
And I mean, these things were selling for 45, 50, 55 grand.
Not this one.
No, well, not this one.
Yeah, they were low mileage, like
Premium.
Southern, West Coast cars and things like that.
The hot commodity
they've got a hard following.
97 to 99 basically is that the OBS as they call it. I was gonna say they call it OBS, 7.3 power stroke. It is the most sought after, and there's ones with like, I mean, and it's not like it's like, okay, this has 5 miles on it. Some of them still have like 30 or 40,000 miles on it, and they're getting upwards of $20,000+ for these trucks, and it's just. So that was the thing, is when I was looking for one, I was looking specifically for an old Ford, not any generation, whatever. And I'm looking at OBSs and I'm like, that's not even an option. Like, I don't want that. And then that's when I really found the bullnoses, and I've just nerded out so hard about them.
Didn't want another Ranger?
No, probably not. The old Ford pickups don't have the frame issues, which was cool.
Yeah.
That it wasn't rotted in half, but no, I don't know. I think for whatever reason, this truck kind of just fell into my lap like it did, and it's all I want to do now. Like, it's just, I've deep dove so hard on all the weird, quirky things. The truck is, I don't know if anyone knows it, but a Centurion. It's like a special. So like Centurion would buy a Ford pickup, modify it, and then sell it to someone. It was still a brand new truck, but they would come like crazy, overhead consoles, or like
the
more
running
plush
boards
interior,
and stuff.
the running boards, like
accessory,
exactly.
basically accessorized.
That's all it was.
Truck.
Western Hauler used to do it too. A couple brands would do it for the old Fords back in the day.
Does it have the cab lights
so
at the top?
The weird thing, my truck does have cab lights, but the weird thing is mine's like a Centurion, but like if they were to sell like models of it, it's the lowest model. And I'm trying to, Centurion doesn't have any information anymore, and they're not a company, so you can't like look back through their catalog and say, hey, like what package did it get or whatever. But the running boards on it are one-piece running boards that go from the front wheel to the back wheel. They're probably 12 feet long, and they're diamond-plated one-piece running boards, which you just don't see. They call them chicken lights. There's running lights down the side of it. It's weird because it's an XL, so it's a base model, but it has AC. So I don't know if that was an add-on from them back in the day, but I have, people obviously swap badges all the time, right? So when I first got it, I was like, oh, it has a Centurion badge on it, but I'm like, is that accurate? And then I looked, the radiator support has the laminated Centurion like breakdown on the front of it. And I was like, it's a
That's
legit
cool.
Centurion truck, which is just cool.
That's really cool.
They started doing that in the early 80s. And so it's, one of the first couple of years of them doing it. And then they got crazy with it come OBS. There's, you can buy a Centurion OBS truck that's just, you're sitting on a couch. Like they're so plush inside, so many add-ons and different stuff. But yeah, so no, that was a cool little twist to it too, that it just has a little bit more history as well as, just being an old pickup truck. But yeah, no, just became a full nerd when it came to those trucks now. It's super cool.
Sounds like an awesome project.
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of help from other people? Like, have you have friends helping you with
so
some of them?
not to be that guy that's like, I did it, but like
Yeah,
a lot of the
you
work
did a
I've
lot
done
of it.
myself, which I wanted to do on this one because
Nice.
I've always asked for so much help that I was like, I don't care anymore if this truck runs. And that threshold we were talking about earlier of crossing over,
Gone.
I'm 10 grand into a $5 truck. This thing's not worth anything, but for whatever reason, I love
Hey.
it so much. And like, I think I'm happy that I crossed that threshold because
Yeah.
now I don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It only took 48 cars to get
Yeah.
there.
Hey.
And now he
16
found
years
it.
now
He
I found it, and it's probably the worst one out of them all. But no, I so with the C notch and all the stuff we did last weekend, massive shout out, thank you to my buddies Josh, Reese, Casey, a couple other guys that stopped by. I don't know how to weld. I don't really care to learn at this point in time. And to be honest, even if I did know, I don't think I would have wanted to do it to that truck because I feel like I would have been second guessing it the entire time. Did I do that correctly? Is that enough, weld penetration? Is that whatever? Is that going to work?
Is it going to break?
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
I would always be afraid of that if it was myself doing it. So, no, those guys came down and we started at 8 a.m. last Saturday. And I'm going to say we were, quote, done by 5 p.m. Josh came back by the next day and did some like finish welds, cleaned everything up, but it was moving under its own weight, everything Saturday night. But no, other than that, everything's been done for the most part on my own, which I think is, for me, it's a huge
that's
accolade.
huge.
Like, a lot of learning, a lot of researching, a lot of figuring it out, but it's been super cool. And but yeah, no, shout out to those guys for helping me with that stuff. That was awesome. And it's always nice. We used to hang out here and do shop nights, and
Oh yeah.
it feels like it becomes few and far between now. So like have all the guys there. I bought pizza. We, bought later on in the day, bought some beer, whatever, and just kind of hanging out and shooting the breeze while we all do this. It just felt like the old days.
I want to bring back the get together, the
Yeah.
Wednesday night get together.
I know I've been talking for a while, but we still have a lot to,
Yeah, I mean,
like a lot of history and stuff
Yeah.
we could talk about too. But yeah, no, so the bullnose has been awesome just to finish that off. It's been so cool. Excited for it going forward. Excited to just cruise it all summer. Like
Can't
you
wait
were
to
saying.
see it.
yeah.
Well, and you guys
Some
were
of the
saying earlier,
shows and
go to
stuff.
shows and stuff. I would love to be more active. I just feel like I wasn't last year, and probably not even the year or two before that. I would even just local stuff.
Yep.
Cruise around, hang out, do whatever whatever we can do. I don't know how much stuff is local anymore.
I mean, Dan goes to the
Candia.
Candia
Cruise night.
cruise
Yeah.
night.
That was a good one, especially if you have something unique that's
Thursdays.
older. A
Yep.
lot of muscle cars, a lot of classics. They take it seriously
So I
too.
might have to
So
catch up about that. and
yeah,
figure
so
something
it's
out.
literally every Thursday night in Candia, and this place gets filled. It's Exit 3 Irving. So
Okay.
I drive by it to get home.
Yep.
And I remember when we were looking at houses in Candia, I was like, oh man, it was that night. It was like, I went to look at the house and I'm like, it's, like they were having that cruise night. And I remember I was like, I need to live here. So I drive by it every Thursday.
Yeah.
A lot of older people, but it's a real mix.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Ferraris, you've got Audi R8s, and then you'll have like a 1930s Ford,
Yep.
that's like perfect. But they do awards every,
that's cool.
yeah. And and these people take it seriously.
Wow.
So
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. this
yeah,
coming
you'll
year.
probably piss off a lot of people.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
that's probably my favorite part is what I said earlier about it, like looking Pepe spec, and then you pull like Park. I can't wait for that older generation that's like, oh my god, look at this
Yeah.
truck, and then it's just like
Air out.
dragging the rear bumper against the ground, and their just mind explodes. I love that stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so funny.
You know,
to
it's
me.
funny. You were talking about Ryan earlier, seeing him
Mhm.
down in Elm, and I was pumping gas one time. I wasn't even at the show there because I had to be somewhere, and I saw him roll up in that Cabrio with the daisy wheels, and he just parked right next to like an old hot rod and got out, started talking to the guy right away. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, that's so funny to see. I watched it happen too. It was just hilarious. I'm like, this guy's probably like, who the hell is this dude, right? Like, but it just goes to show, like, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't. As long as you're a good person and can at least have a conversation, it doesn't matter what you're into or what you're doing. Just don't be a crappy person. It's kind of that easy, like in life in general. Just be a decent person.
It's nice to bridge the gap too. Like, obviously, like, we do a lot of lowered stuff, and there's a guy, Craig, who has lowered trucks, and he's from around there. And like, he's had some really cool stuff that's like slammed on the ground, LS swap turbo. He's got is it the Cheyenne? Chevy Cheyenne with oh my god!
Oh, was that the one we saw in Concord, the black one?
It was orange and white. And he builds like some crazy trucks. He's always there. But yeah, it's nice to bridge the gap between like the people who are very purist and like the muscle car guys who are like, this is exact spec. Gotta have those guys. Gotta know what the car was built like and have all the documentation and everything. But it really is cool. Like, I'm sure most of us will agree, it is pretty awesome to have a car that you're just like, I don't give a shit if this thing gets scratched or anything, and it's unique, and it's like, people look at it and they're like, wow, that's something different. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. I really enjoy that stuff.
Bought an old cap for the back of the truck, and I am modifying it to make like a little, they call it a sleeper, for the back of the pickup. But I literally was cutting it up on the back of my truck, and I cut the bed with a Sawzall. Like the top bed rail, I hit it with a Sawzall. Went too far, and honestly, I pulled the bed off. I pulled the cap off, and I was like, okay. I'm like, move on. Like, it didn't cut the thing in half or whatever, but there's a good saw mark to the top of it. I'm like, whatever.
A little bit of JB weld on it and call it a day.
Well, the bed sides are rotted on it, so like the flares are fiberglass, but above that is metal, and it's pretty well gone. And so many people, when they've seen it, are like, well, you gotta fix that. I'm like, nope. I'm like, the truck earned this. It's its story. It's sat for so long. It's whatever. You know, again, structural stuff. Yes, the floor is gone. I'm going to fix the floor. But like the stuff externally that doesn't really matter, who cares? I also took a cutoff wheel to the entire bed yesterday and cut the main section out of it and the wheel wells out of it so I can tuck everything up inside. So I don't care that much.
You're not hauling lumber in it.
God, no.
So
maybe you're not trying to make a show a true like.
So good. Oh, I saw that at the Cruising Downtown.
Yeah.
That thing's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, no, it's never going to be anything more than a cruiser. That's what I get my groceries in. It's fun. It's nothing more than that. But yeah, no, so I'm excited for that. Excited for this year. Feel like I get back out there with something. Like I said, I putted it around last year, but it wasn't something that like, you know, stopped people to see it. The people were excited, but it wasn't the same.
So you talked about marketplace. What you love haggling on marketplace.
Yeah.
What is the lowest you've ever like hammered somebody on the price and they actually took it and you're like, holy shit, now I have to go get it?
So I don't know if it's going to be the biggest price gap. There's also going to be some that are like the cap that's on my black truck right now. The guy was asking $600 and he was like 2 hours away in Massachusetts. I talked him down to $200 and he delivered it to me while I was at work. Wow. Like, I didn't have to do anything. The man showed up to my work. He backed his pickup in. We took it off the top and he left. And I paid him $400 less than he was asking.
That's pretty impressive.
That was a good one. That really pumped me up. I like the ones where you can talk them into delivering things to you.
That's happened a few times too.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times. What else have been crazy ones? I mean, the Corvette, they were asking $95 for it. I paid $7, with some haggling. And no, I do have my black pickup, I ended up paying like $22 for it, but they were asking $25 and he would not budge. And I think I waited, honestly, like another 3 or 4 months and it was still on Marketplace. And I responded again, hey, how about that 22? Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. Yeah. So sometimes you just got to hold out.
Yep.
And if it sells, it wasn't meant to be. And if it doesn't, that's when you can really hit them with that low number.
There's always another one.
There's always another one. I don't know if I have like a massive one that stands out in my head, but I don't ever pay asking price. It's not an option. It's haggle every time. And if they don't want to haggle, cool. Yep. Have a good day. Let's try and sell it to someone else. And if you don't, then I'll be here. I'll be here a couple months later when you're ready to not take any money for it, because that's what I want to do.
Yep.
I also love the buying something on Marketplace and then selling it a month later for more money. And people just do it. People buy
play the game.
I've seen people buy it and they're like driving home and they're using the listing pictures and already
Absolutely.
reposting it.
God, yeah.
That's lazy.
Yeah.
That is lazy. You got to take your own pictures. At least get it home, like wash it.
I love the
Yeah.
comments on that.
Yeah.
It's like, you just bought that for $2,000.
Literally. Yeah.
And somebody's like, I'm sorry, he underpriced it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when if you think about it too, like moving something from like kind of a rural area to somewhere a little bit
Yep.
more populated,
yep.
you'll get more
Makes a
money
huge difference.
instantly because people can come pick it up.
You take a car from Vermont and bring it down to southern New Hampshire or northern
Exactly.
Mass, you're going to get more people
Exactly.
that are willing to come up and grab it.
They don't have to drive so far for
Yep.
it. They don't care. And okay, so they're going to pay an extra $500 for it. They would have spent that in fuel getting up there to get it. So it does make a difference where you're located, and you can definitely take advantage of that too. Yeah, no, I wish I could come up with some crazy
Yeah.
one. I mean, I've definitely made a good amount of money doing, just
Yeah.
little things. And you buy something, you clean it up a little bit, and you can flip it for more money. And that's what I always like. I look at something on Marketplace, and I'm like, he could ask more for that. I'm like, if this guy put a little bit of elbow grease into this thing, you could easily get more money for it. And people just either don't understand that or don't want to do
Don't
it.
care.
But yeah, no, I mean, I've offered people things and just don't get accepted.
Yeah.
But like ridiculous offers just because. Why
Yep.
not?
You're like,
Worst
fuck it
case
if
is
they
they say
take it.
no.
Yep.
Normally when they do say no, you're like, oh shit. You're like, now I actually have to go get this thing and figure out how I'm going to do
I
this.
didn't
And
think you would say yes.
every time,
Yeah, that's
right?
what that's why I was
Like, get in the
curious. I was
car.
like, is there
Yeah.
anything that you were like, crap?
No, nothing that I honestly, the red truck was like trading them for the wheels was kind of like we're actually doing this.
Yeah.
And mind you, the wheels were on my pickup at the time. So in like a couple days span, I had to buy a set of stock wheels. I bought a set of 37-inch tires and put my truck together and took these wheels off to get rid of them, which was kind of funny because I just didn't think he was going to say yes. And all of a sudden he was in. Yeah, no, I would say easily haggling with people on Marketplace is one of my favorite pastimes. I don't care about those people.
No.
And I am so excited to offer them no money for what they have, especially when they love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my grandfather getting offered $500 for that Ford Ranger when he thinks it's immaculate, and it's not.
Yep.
It just it's this person's baby, and you offer him $2 for it. It's the best.
I don't know. What do you want to get in? What do you want to get into?
How much longer do we want to
I
talk?
mean, whatever. I mean,
I
realistically,
guess-
you could probably go
Well, I was
another
gonna
half
say,
an
like
hour.
a random question. We were talking downstairs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is the one car that you absolutely hate?
hate.
Just makes your blood boil when you see it.
Oof. It's got to be a Jeep of some sort.
A Jeep?
Mike said Gladiator
Yeah.
earlier, which I don't entirely hate the Gladiator. I think it can look all right, whatever it is, but I don't know. There's some like the Renegades and the Compasses. Some of them are just
With
so
the cross
terrible.
taillights with
Yeah.
the little
Every
X.
time.
Yeah.
What else? There's also those cars that you just like hate the person who's driving it. Like, I mean, not to be that guy, but like every '08 Nissan Altima, there's a
Oh,
young
yeah.
girl behind that wheel who's not paying attention to the
Nope.
road and she's doing 1,000,000 miles an hour. That
Oh,
scares
dude.
me.
You see the bumper
Yeah.
that's already smashed up.
Me and my buddy, I was in my RS4, Benny was in his wagon, and our friend was in his RS6 Avant, right? Which is a V8 bi-turbo. We're
Mhm.
doing 120 to dust off one year. And a Nissan Altima comes flying in the right
Always.
lane.
Yeah,
Always.
like you guys are standing still.
Always.
Swerving, you could see the body roll, and I'm like, holy shit!
You guys
this
are
dude-
traffic at
We
120 miles an hour. You're traffic. to
We
her.
are like 120, like super stable speed. Like, these cars are built for this. And this guy is just killing himself. He passed us.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's a
that
scary
is.
one.
He was on a mission.
Those are one of the cars you always have to watch out for on the road.
Yeah,
though.
on,
Oh, yeah.
on my way here.
Altimas, Rogues.
Yeah.
I was just down in Jersey for work on Thursday, and every single
Oh,
Altima
Rogues.
down there had
Nissan Rogue.
an unpainted bumper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every single one.
All of them.
And then you got to watch out too, like the 06, 07, 08 Fusions, and like
Ooh.
Mercury, Monterey.
They're
like,
getting cheap enough.
whatever
to where they're
those.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fusions
It's a
are
sketchy
tough.
vehicle.
Dangerous.
Fusions are tough.
Also, watch out for Explorer ST drivers.
Yeah. They're kind of cool.
I like them.
The STs.
I
Are
like
cool.
them.
They're
I
fast.
like them. But most people that drive them,
Absolutely.
are dicks.
Yeah. Or they don't know what they have, and
Yeah.
it gets a little scary.
You like new cars at all? Or
I do.
what would you, if you were going to.
So I kind of like thought about this one before.
Yeah.
Let's just
because we've
let's do
heard
it.
it, right?
Dream car, old new.
Oh, so new is going to be a little bit more practical than I think it should be, but I would love a newer F350 Crew Cab Dually Platinum Plus, like the most options you could ever get. They have heated, massaging, cooled seats. It's like whatever, but they're $110,000. So yeah, I think that's my unrealistic brand new vehicle. It's just, do I need a crew cab dually daily driver? Absolutely not. Do they look cool? Yeah. And it's got every feature amenity you could ever want. I was trying to think about this too. I was like going back and forth about it. I was like, a lot of people would say like brand new GT3 RS. Like, yeah, that is sick. Don't get me wrong, but like, I just don't know if it fits
Your
what
lifestyle.
I do or like whatever it might
Well,
be.
the
Like,
problem is you'd be nervous to drive it.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
And like,
like
I
I-
live in the sticks.
Registration fee
like,
on
yeah.
that.
You
That's
smash a curb
also-
with a
And
truck, you're like,
insurance.
Yeah,
whatever.
like
Exactly.
I get pissed if I get a rock chip on
Yeah.
a $30,000 car. Never mind if I was
And
driving
I know
a
it's
200 and something
the
thousand.
hypothetical or whatever, like all those things don't really matter, but I still don't know if it's even me. I just think for something brand new, I would want it as comfortable and useful as physically possible, because I guess that's what I care about at the end of the day when it comes to something newer.
Yep.
But yeah,
What about
old. So I had kind of a weird story to bring up as well for this old vehicle. I actually sent Jonah the picture of it last night. If you guys can see this, it's called an Austin America. So it's the same company roughly that made Mini
Yep.
Cooper. This picture I took in 2012 in Milford. It was for sale at a gas station. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea what I was talking about, but I wanted to buy it so badly. It's a coupe. It's got those ugly mini front headlights, like just the round, like almost Porsche kind of looking.
Yep.
Every couple years I start looking for one on Marketplace and I give it like a solid month-long search. I can never find one. They're for sale in Europe, maybe if you're lucky. But yeah, I think it's in Austin, America. I think it's either a 1700 or a 2100. They had like the numbers
Four-cylinder?
for 4-cylinder. Some of them were made 3 cylinders.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And it has a hydro something suspension. The suspension has fluid in it. Again, if I bought this when I was 17 years old, when I wanted to, it would have been parked in my driveway because I would have never been able to drive it because I don't know how to work on it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those weird cars that no matter what, I always go back every couple of years and look for one. I don't know if I'd say it's a dream, but it's one of those ones that like someday I would love to own one just because they're so weird. It's got that like, we talked about them earlier. It's got that like Ludwig-esque vibe to it, like that
Yeah,
car you
what
just
was
don't
that?
see.
What, the Russian car?
The one that he had was
The Lada?
the Lada.
Yeah.
He had a lot of,
Which is actually, they were fairly common
yeah.
overseas, but not here.
They were like
obviously.
I think it was like military wise,
It was a
like they were
cheap-
kind of like a throwaway
cheap
car
car,
back
yeah.
in the day.
I
Yeah.
feel like the Ladas too, like those original ones. They were kind of like the B13 Sentras. How they still
Exactly.
made them in Mexico until like
Exactly.
2008 or something
Yeah.
like that.
But yeah, no, I don't know.
I thought you were fully going to go Accord.
No, so Accord's going to be that other weird thing where the question of what's the car that you like that most people hate? It's
Yeah.
or not most people hate, but like most people don't think about. It's the CB7 Accord, the 90 to 93. I've had 2 of them. One of them was static. The other one was on air.
I had a
Neither of them-
wagon, CB9.
Yep.
Okay.
The CB7 coupes are
Coupes are so
gorgeous.
sick. And what I was saying earlier too is you can do so much. You can go H22. You can make them fast. They also take being low very well. They have, the wheel wells fit 17s, which is like a blessing and a curse because if you can't find 17-inch 4x114 wheels. But when you do, they look wild. And I don't know why I have such a soft spot for those cars. I absolutely loved both of them. But yeah, I think that's one of those ones that one day I will own one for zero reason, just because I think they look cool, and I never got to do it right with the 2 that I had. So yeah, that's the weird car that probably is overlooked a little bit.
What's the one car you love no one else likes?
I
Like
think
that-
that's
that's
probably
probably
my
it, right?
answer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, that's the CB7.
I mean, I'm a fan. I've
but
always liked.
No one cares about him enough to ever do
Yeah.
anything.
no,
I
but it's
think-
also one of those cars that it's completely disappeared.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
The road.
all
They're-
of them are
they're
rotted.
gone.
The
Yep.
rear rocker panels on every single one of them are gone.
Car trend. One you love and one you hate.
Everyone said Burble too, right?
Yeah, for the
Burble
most
too
part.
sucks.
Dan has a
Um,
real hatred for it.
I know he does.
Well, just poor modifications in general.
Exactly.
There's nothing worse than a Burble.
I mean,
Burble tunes are terrible.
I have a hard time too because I'm like people who just lop the mufflers off their cars, but I'm like, I was there. Like
we've all-
did it.
Yeah, we
Right,
all,
yeah.
We all did
done
it, but now that I feel
Hey,
like I'm a
I'm
little bit
guilty of
older,
stupid mods.
there
too.
is a Mark IV VR that drives by my work every single day that is so loud. and I just want to throw rocks out into the road in front of them.
It's got to be straight,
like,
it's straight from the header.
It's so bad. But I know I was also that kid at one point. A full trend that I don't like.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but a sedan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy's obsessed with them.
The wagon, yeah.
Friend from high school. He's
Oh.
got a bunch of.
Is that green?
Yeah.
I had one. 2019,
Yeah.
18,
Yeah.
somewhere
He
like
might
that.
be the guy.
Yeah, I had a maroon
Wait,
one. That
after
thing's sick.
the CB9s, those were like the bubbly
Those,
kind of
that's
wagons.
when they got bubbly.
Yeah,
those started
are-
at
I like
94.
those, yeah.
He's had a bunch of
Um,
wagons.
Yeah, I love the sedans. I don't honestly know if I can think of a good car trend that I like absolutely hate, besides like just the
Yeah,
newer
sick.
generation of us basically that are just hacking motor vehicles up. I don't know. I feel like stance has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit, which I
It's-
didn't mind, to be
Yeah.
honest. I liked it. I was into it for a while.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever been like a fast car, stance car. I've never had a certain like thing that I flow with. I think that kind of proves in general with all the different vehicles that I've
Yeah,
owned.
the-
But yeah, I just hate dumb people. So I think that's the trend that I want to stop. It's just like dumb car owners. Yeah, that's that.
Oh man. Did rear wheel drive or all wheel drive? I'm probably
Rear-
gonna go rear
Rear-wheel
yeah.
drive. Yeah, I have no interest in all-wheel drive. It
You
doesn't
buy
do anything
another
for me.
Corvette.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. It was cool. Uncomfortable. I tried putting a bucket seat in it.
What
It
year was that
miserable.
one?
Oh, 2001. It was
So
a
I
C5.
I just looked it up, and because you guys were talking about push rods,
Yep.
and I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, when did Corvette do away with push rods? They're still push rods.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which
yeah.
is crazy.
It's tried and true.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it works.
They've had the
Yeah.
LS for how long?
Yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
it's in everything.
Mhm.
So why not,
Yep.
keep it the same? They tried doing that eco mode for, what was it, 2014 to 2018 or whatever it is, that shuts down 4 cylinders and it started ruining motors. That's when Chevy should have been like, no, we don't change anything because
No,
it just works.
But instead, they still do it.
They
It still
try,
destroys
yeah.
the 5.3s.
Al,
and the
old
6.2s.
old Volkswagens had push rods too.
Did they?
Which like
Beetle
the air cooled,
1600,
yeah.
2 liters, 1700. Yeah, so they have the push rod tubes that you can
Okay.
see from the bottom. Sometimes there's tins that you can't really, but yeah, push because they don't have overhead cam. Anything that doesn't have an
Oh, okay.
overhead cam,
That makes
the
sense.
cam is in the block. It's driven by the crank with a gear, and then it's just literally in the block
Yeah,
or
so
in
that,
the case.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so, but the all the old V8s were cam and block, so
Yeah.
they had to have push rods to get up to the lifters.
Definitely different.
Hot rod stuff, pretty cool.
So 2-door or 4-door GTI? GTI. I will die on
Two-
this hill.
2-door GTI, but I would prefer a 4-door Golf.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm a 4-door guy, like through and through. So, but if it's a GTI, I think it needs to be a 2-door.
It should be a 2-door.
Yeah. But if you're buying a Golf, in my opinion, it should be a 4-door. What they do, Mark 5, Mark 6, they did 2-door Golfs too, right?
6.
That was
Yeah.
6.
2
yeah.
and 4.
Yeah, because Dan
Yeah.
and Steph had
Oh,
one.
the Golf R came 4-door or 2-door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but their factory Golf, I'm pretty sure they also made a 2-door, just like
Yeah.
base
Yeah.
Golf.
Mark
And I
5.
did-
Mark-
Mark 7s
the
too.
Mark
you can get a
7s, too.
GTI
Yeah.
2-door. It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's 2015 only.
Yeah, I think the
They
Mark
did.
6 looked normal with the 2-door,
Yep.
but the Mark 7, because of how squared it was, the window,
Yep.
it was very like it kind of looked like an afterthought, in my opinion.
No.
I mean,
a
I
lot
know
of-
you like them.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that 100% preferred the 4-door
Yeah.
on the Mark 6.
Yeah.
They think it looks better.
I think the 5s in previous generations look better as 2-doors.
Me too.
And I think the 6s in
And
newer
forward.
look
Agree.
better as 4-doors.
Yep. I agree.
If it's a GTI, it should be a 2-door. If
How-
it's a Golf, it should be a 4-door.
How about a
That's-
Mark 3 4-door Golf with a VR6 swap,
Yep, perfect.
right? With crank windows.
Perfect.
I know.
That's the way to go.
I know. Jonah.
Yep.
Jonah bought a couple 4-door Golfs
Yeah.
and had plans.
His original one was a 2-door white GTI. That thing was awesome. Just one I know he knows he should have never gotten rid of it. Then we drove that-
White.
white.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
the thing
kinda
was
rare.
super cool. And we were young, so it was
Yeah.
like it was just amazing at the time. We drove to Vermont to buy an automatic 4-door Golf Mark III. That was immaculate clean, like crazy. But it was an automatic. It was a 2-liter. It was boring. I told him earlier I wanted to bring this up too. Like we did a mad dash to Wolfsgard for that car. He bought it. He like wasn't gonna go, wasn't gonna do this, and then literally within a week we put it on coilovers. We borrowed a set of Dan Walker's Keskins.
Yep.
put those on it and just like hammered it up to Vermont. Like it's just the funny stories of like we made it happen in a week and it
Yeah.
did the Burlington,
The
Vermont
crunch
back
time.
drive.
The
like
show
for
crunch.
no reason.
Yeah.
Like it's funny.
That was the auto though.
That was the auto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I remember. So his plan was to VR6
He
swap
wanted
that.
to VR
I
swap
think I
it and do a
remember
bunch of
talking
stuff,
to
and
him
it just
about
kind
that,
of life happened.
Oh,
It-
yeah.
it never
No,
got that. We
it
pulled the
always
motor
does.
out of it. We did a bunch of stuff like in his driveway. It
Yeah.
was not great, and then yeah, it just kind of sat, and he ended up selling the shell. And the kid who bought the shell completely resprayed it. It looks awesome. It's running and driving. It's cool that I'm happy someone actually did something.
And
with
it's
it.
still local.
No, I well, ish. I think
Ish.
it ended up in Massachusetts. And then yeah, because afterwards he bought an ABA turbo GTI that we did the same thing. We mad dashed that to Wolfscart, and it shouldn't have even been a thought in our mind. We didn't know anything about the turbo kit. It was definitely homemade, definitely some weird setup. The thing was quick. It kept having, I think it was a fuel pressure sensor. It was some sort of sensor that kept failing. We had to like hardwire the fuel pump to get it to work a couple times to try and get it to run. And he drove that thing to Vermont. We got into the car show. It died, I think, in the show. Whatever we did to fix it, we fixed it, and he drove it home with not a single issue. That was something that should have never happened. But why not, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know any better.
I mean, you cracked your oil pan
Yeah, on a car with air ride.
leaving Wolfscart.
Leaving Wolfscart. Yep.
If anybody knows, there's train tracks.
Brutal. And yeah, I was just trying to be a hot boy driving low, and I smoked that pan on the train tracks. And that was leaving my car up there, riding home with you.
Oof.
Yep.
And
I
then-
was probably 10 minutes ahead, got off the exit, pulled around, went back, picked him up. He had already called AAA, left the keys in it, and said,
We've all had those moments.
Yeah.
It ended up back at my house 2 or 3 days later because we were leaving Sunday night, right? I would
yeah,
assume.
it was Sunday night right after the show.
The guy kind of called me after he picked it up. He's like, "Hey, dude, do you mind if I just like leave this thing in my yard overnight?" He's like, "It's all chained up, like locked, the gates, closed, whatever." And I was like, "Dude, I don't care."
Yeah, I got home.
get
I
it
think
back
I
home.
gave you one of my cars, dude.
The
for a couple
amount of
days.
times you've given me one of your cars, whether it's because I was house sitting
Yep.
or because you guys just weren't here, whatever it might have been.
I think I gave you just in the Skyline.
You gave me the Sky. I
Yeah.
had the Skyline for like 2 or 3 days.
Yep. You went to the memo meet.
Yep. Drove the EOS a bunch of times
Yep.
while you guys were away with permission.
Yeah.
But no, I always, for whatever reason, ended up borrowing vehicles from you for no good reason, just
Yeah.
because I was here or you weren't or whatever it was. But yeah, no, you definitely gave me one of your cars to drive while the wagon was broken.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Dan Sawyer did the oil pan for me in my driveway while I was at work because
Hey.
What a guy.
yeah, the dash is Wolfscart was always a great time.
I was going to say,
It
was
will always
that
be-
your favorite show?
Yeah, I think it will always be my favorite show. And the more they opened it up to like the town and doing aired out downtown Winooski and like the different events they had.
I mean, I
during
think
the
they're
weekend,
all the way back to either Tuesday or Wednesday with
which is amazing.
stuff. They're
Do you
trying to
still
make
go?
it.
I mean, I haven't gone in
Oh,
years. I would
yeah.
love to make it up in the truck this year, just because for the last couple of years I haven't had Volkswagens. I kind of not grew out of it, but just haven't had them. And I feel like the last car I took there, well, actually took the Silverado, the lowered
Yep.
pickup there. Not that it doesn't get the love and not that it doesn't get anything. I don't know. So at some point I feel a bit like an imposter because I went when it was not strictly, but strictly Volkswagen.
There was
Audi,
only like
Euro
maybe
cars.
40 or 50 cars that were not.
yeah.
Exactly.
For
I
the
think
show.
now that truck would be
And
perfect because I feel like it's definitely evolved into
I
a
agree.
different show.
Especially
so
with like
it's-
the brewery stuff, it's
Yeah.
all a little bit I shouldn't say a little bit, it's way more open than it. And I'm not saying it never was closed off. No one cared, but like growing up, it was a Volkswagen Audi show, a
Yep.
Euro car show. And so no, I think I would love to make it up there this year in that truck. I don't know if I want to drive it to Burlington, Vermont, but I would love to get back up there. It's so cool. The
Yeah.
destination spot, and we lost Waterfest, lost
Yeah.
H2O, theoretically, whatever. The destination trips, you go for a long weekend or now even a week, and it's nice because Burlington isn't that far, so you're not making a 10-hour drive to stay for the weekend or whatever it is. But there's something in my head that I just love the destination idea, the fact that you can be there
yeah.
for a while and not care.
Yeah, you're not just going up for a Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly.
We stopped going because we moved to Candia and right in Deerfield they do Volks Fair.
Yep.
So it's all older VWs.
It's the same weekend.
It's the same
Oh,
weekend.
that's a
so
bummer.
and I think it was because at one point they switched it was like a week later or a week earlier. I forget what happened because
Yeah, I think they ended up pushing it because it used to be the last weekend in July.
yeah,
And I think they ended up pushing it a
first
week
weekend.
past.
Yeah, is it the first week in August?
Yeah.
So that's the only reason we stopped
Cool.
going, because it was like because we had a great time up there.
Yeah.
It did get expensive to stay, and Kim was like
rooms
done
are
with
tough.
camping.
Rooms are tough.
The camping was like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a young game.
What was the Baymont?
Yeah.
the
The Baymont.
The
used to be like
Baymont. Now it's like I think it's
$250
like
a
a
night.
mental health
Yeah.
facility.
Is it really?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Wow.
they changed it into something completely different.
Yeah, I remember like the first year we camped 2 years maybe, and then it was like, okay, I'm drunk
Yep.
all weekend long, surrounded by even more drunk people, which becomes annoying at some point. So it very quickly turned into we're getting a hotel.
We stay at the Baymont, and then
stay
we
at the
pay
Baymont.
$10 a piece.
Yep.
Go into the campground till like
Yep.
3-4 in the morning.
Try and finagle a wristband
Yep.
sometimes.
Oh, that one night that was with you.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one out.
They were trying
But,
to kick us out at like 1 in the morning, and we're
Oh,
like, "Come
no.
on, let us."
Yeah.
They're worried about people
Right.
staying there and not paying. We're like, "Listen, we paid $500 for a hotel. We're not staying here."
Dan put on the most sober face and gave this speech
Yep.
to these people, and they were like, "All right, cool." And we were all just like, "Excuse me."
Yep.
It was wild. That was
Yeah,
so
not
funny.
proud of that, but
I mean, it wasn't a bad thing.
we ended up staying in like Burlington.
Yeah.
Like, but it ended up getting to be
Mhm.
$400-$500 a night, and it's like for a weekend, it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area. Love
Yep.
Foam Brewers is down there, is great.
But to be
Um,
spending
zero
$1,500 to
gravity.
$2,000
It's
is
tough.
tough.
I know.
right?
If you were at the point in your life where you make that your vacation and you base like it would be yearly vacation, whatever you want to call it, and you base it around that, awesome.
Yeah.
But to like be like, oh yeah, it's a car show that we're going to that I'm spending,
Well,
$2-3 grand on
Right.
to be there and eat and whatever, then it's like, okay, that's pushing it a
well,
little
Ryan
bit.
and my cousin, they would take the full week off,
Mhm.
and they would go up Sunday and do stuff, and then the car show would be at the end of the week.
Yeah, It's perfect.
So they made it a week long
That's
thing.
what was great about Solo.
yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm going this
You
year.
are?
Really?
Well, it's not Solo anymore.
No.
It's Alpine Volks Fair.
Oh.
But
But it's the
See,
same
but it's
thing.
It's been so long, I didn't even
Yeah.
know that.
yeah, I wanted to go before it becomes nothing. But it is invite only now. And it's Volkswagen. It's Volkswagen.
And they
Audi,
announced
Porsche only.
the dates like not last
They
minute. But
yeah,
like,
it was like I
it's
was like
kinda
I was
last minute.
asking
Really?
around
Yeah.
like what week is it, and then I had to do an application. So we took the time off, and then one of my coworkers is going. He's a younger kid, and he was like, are you sure it's this week? I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure. You
Yeah,
know, I'm
I saw-
asking.
Just like guessing.
I saw
That
people-
would suck to drive 17
Oh yeah.
hours.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
They're like, oh, it's next week.
Last year we went to Georgia, Tybee Island, which was awesome, and then we went to Savannah and hung out, and because we do road trips East Coast, and but like we were the week following, so we were seeing cars driving back when we were driving down, and I was like, oh, it would have been nice to like hit it. So we're not going there to like do car shit all
Yeah.
week, but we do want to check out. Helen is really cool. It's like
Helen's
a cool,
awesome.
yeah, it's a cool area. It's
Gotta
like
get that iconic picture in front of like the Helldorf or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Ellendorf.
I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna take like something not super crazy because it's like we're road tripping down there.
take the Mark 7.
Oh, the Golf R.
Yeah.
It's a little tight, but
I mean,
it's probably not too bad, honestly. We took it to North Carolina, and it's it's a 4-door.
Yeah.
So
Just put a rack and a box on it.
that's what I was thinking. But
Get
like,
another U-Haul and a trailer.
I know,
You guys have already
right?
done it.
I should just cut up another car and just pull that behind it.
You've got plenty.
Yeah.
you
I'm trying to do Roots again this year.
Roots was cool. I
I'm-
had a good time at Roots. They changed it. So I was super excited to do like what was it, the hen?
Yeah. Yep.
So they did like a restaurant. The restaurant like basically catered to the show
That's cool.
vendor, and so you could go there, and that seemed to be like the main event years prior. And then last year we went, and it was like they were kind of like scrambling to find like a location. It seemed like to have like the at night events and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it was still a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean
It-
it was a
it-
lot of good people. It was all pre-2000
yeah.
Volkswagen. So not a lot of young kids. I mean, I hung out with a bunch of young kids.
Yeah,
at one point,
there's a small group.
Yeah.
and some of them are kids of
Yeah,
older
kids
guys.
Of
Yeah,
the
which is
yeah,
even
You know, then
cooler.
you got Ethan.
Ethan.
I think Ethan and Johnny slept in their cars.
Johnny's
weekend?
a wild animal. That dude is crazy.
They just drove down. They're just
Did
like,
you
"Yep."
notice on his Jetta? So he has a Mark 1 Jetta
Mhm.
VR6 turbo that he drove down with. I think it was 165 aspect ratio
Yeah.
tires.
Okay.
Like yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was. I mean,
Ugh.
15s with a VRT,
Yep.
fully shade bay. Drives every car he has though,
Yep,
which
he
is
does.
crazy. But I realized it like when we were at that show that he doesn't have a brake booster, and I'm like, dude, this dude like. So he has like mechanical brakes too,
Oh, okay.
because everything's super clean in that engine bay. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's the type of guy that like finds a car in the woods.
Yeah.
Mark III. He's done 2 recently. It was completely trashed, and it's just like a month or 2, and it's like he just spends all of his time
All the
fully
metal work.
rotisserie, and I'm like, dude, Mark III's, huh? And he just loves them, dude. He
Dude,
does.
most of the best ones are in
He
the
does,
woods.
and he always finds like he just found a mulberry. I think
Yeah,
it was
I saw
mulberry.
that.
Was it
Oh.
mulberry?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
GTI, and I think it was like a 95 because the wheels. I remember because my friend had the same car in high school.
I think
and
95 was the first
it was like
year.
OBD1. It had like I'm pretty sure his has the cloth seats too, but it had these wheels, and I was like I'm pretty sure that's the 95 year. That's when they usually put those wheels on, but yeah. Anyways, it should be an interesting. I'm sure he's probably restoring a car right now to bring down.
Getting
there.
ready for this year's car show.
Yeah.
Speaking of food at shows, like you talked about down Aired Out Winooski, they had that mac and cheese place. Shout out to DJ. Every year it was a point. We would literally park our cars and just walk directly to the mac and cheese
Really?
place, and the place was packed all the time. But it was just a thing every single year.
That is cool. The Air Out Winooski.
It's
That's
a
like,
cool spot.
I think that the restaurant right there where you
Mhm.
can sit on is it the river?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had like an hour wait when we went there. We were like, yeah, there's no way we're getting in there.
Yeah,
but
no.
it was a cool area. We walked up the street and went to like a dive bar.
I think that's something I love is when they like not shut down the town, but like
The
the
town
town
is
gets
there for
involved.
it. Yeah.
and like I think that's so.
That's kind of how Roots is.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of restaurants or parking lots that they got to use and
But it's
lined everything
the way it has to be, or it's the way it
Exactly.
should be.
yeah.
Why not?
You keep everyone in
Accept
check
that.
and
Well,
not
'cause then
ruin
it,
it.
but then it turns into H2O. Like
And
if
that's
you,
why
if you
it
don't
died.
get the city behind it,
Right.
that's what happens when
But-
you just get a bunch of.
What do you
I
think
mean,
the city of
immature
Maryland was like
idiots.
not making off of H2O, but like receiving with all those people being down there? It
Oh,
had
yeah,
to be a
'cause that
good
week-
amount of
that
revenue
week-
and
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that week it wasn't.
yeah,
They didn't have anything. It was the end of the
exactly.
season,
So why not?
and it was extra
embrace it?
income. Yeah.
But they
it's-
didn't coordinate with Ocean
No.
City, and
Yeah,
they had
that's
the
true.
show outside of the city.
Yeah.
But they brought in all this. Yeah, they brought in the business, but like they never. You got to play politics sometimes.
Exactly.
You got to
Yeah.
work with the local governments to
Mhm.
make sure, especially when you're talking about a bunch of young kids
Yeah.
who are partying on the beach.
You're not wrong.
like,
There's definitely other aspects to
Yeah.
it, but it's hard when you're like, it could have worked.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, maybe it's a new generation. Maybe it was people just not respecting it, or maybe it was the pushback that caused the pushback, right? Like,
I think it was
tell
a
someone not to
combination
do
between
something.
like the old generation that was there since day one,
yeah,
and then
It
the
was-
newer people coming in.
yeah.
I've talked to like people about it. Like Corey Sterling was there from the
Yep.
very beginning, and he said that he definitely would have made different decisions if he was the guy calling the shots when it came to coordinating with the Ocean City. They did it so that they didn't have to pay, and it's like, what happens?
Mhm.
The guy who probably ran the show probably got loaded, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
it
the
was-
originally wasn't it? It was the show was at the convention center.
it was
I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it was at the convention center. At
And
it was
it
long
probably
before I
they
started
probably
going,
wanted
but-
too much money for it.
it
and
was
they're
in
like, oh,
Jersey at one point.
yeah.
I think.
Originally, I think
Yeah.
it started in New York, then moved to Jersey,
Yeah.
and then ended up in Maryland.
Yep.
Or maybe that's H2O, but originally it was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say Wolfsguard has been running as long as the majority of them. Hasn't really had any crazy
No,
issues.
I
like
was
that.
there the first year when they did the push race.
Yeah.
And the kid ate shit on the back of the
Yeah.
truck.
Yep.
Dude,
But-
word is 40s in a bag is back.
Really.
I
And
forgot
that's
about that.
upstate New York, I
Mhm.
believe.
Yep.
But I've heard that the show is cool. Like a lot of
Your
older
entry is to
people,
bring a
you know.
40.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah. And you camp, so
Yeah.
One of the old school shows I always missed was Dubs on the Beach.
that was a good one.
Yep.
That was one of my first car shows.
Where was that?
Rhode
It was
Island?
somewhere. It was
It was
near Rhode
somewhat
Island or
local.
South Shore, Mass, or something
Yeah.
like that. But that
Yeah.
was always a good, like, really low key. That and what was the one they had at the airstrip in northern Mass?
That was
Broke Down.
Broke Down.
Broke down.
Broke Down
was
was
a good
great.
That was good. When you were speaking of the 165, the tire size, I remember Dylan Fodder stretching trailer tires onto snowflakes, factory snowflakes.
on what, his cab?
On his cabrio, his
Yeah.
yellow cabrio.
Jeez.
I'll never. And then he literally swapped them like 5 miles before we got there, and then like took them off after we left. Never. It was literally a stretch tire on a 6-inch rim, 5.5-inch rim. It was so funny. That was a cool
show. Do you keep
show.
up with him?
I see Dylan every once in a while. Yeah.
He's still got the Mark III, right?
Oh yeah, it still sits. He hasn't done much with it, but he's
No.
still sitting there.
Yeah, they'll just.
But
hold
he's
on to
also
that.
he got married, a house, the whole nine.
I saw he
So,
bought an excavator, which is sick.
Yeah.
And he's been
Yeah.
working on a Tiguan. I saw he had like
Yeah, he
the
put a
motor
motor
out
in
of
it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Surprise, the fucking TSI motor blows
Yeah.
out, you know.
But no, another one I want to do this year is Fieldworks. I think that's
Yep.
a pretty cool show every year.
I went to it probably 4 or 5 years in a row. I've
No.
missed I haven't done car shows.
I haven't
I've missed
either.
the last couple of years of a lot of stuff.
That was like down 290, right? Like it's kinda,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's out near Springfield.
Yeah. That's a cool show. It's a good, from
Yep.
where I am at least, it's a nice ride.
It's at an Elks Lodge. They got plenty
They
of
do
parking.
2, right?
No, just
Just the one.
Just the one.
I thought they used to do one in the spring and then one in the fall.
Staggered.
Oh, Staggered.
Staggered
Maybe that's-
was always spring.
Staggered's in like an event center
It's
now,
it
right?
now. It's
And they
now
do
it's at
drifting and stuff.
the big
we're no.
They,
Thompson.
really?
They moved it
Oh,
to
yeah.
Thompson
Huh.
2 or 3 years ago because they do it's a whole thing. They do the drift event. They do a whole drift thing there and this and that.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
how many listeners do you think we got at 2 hours and 30 minutes?
Probably lost 4 out of the 5
diehards.
that we have.
We gotta like say something to make them comment to like know that they were listening
Yeah.
for this long.
All right, one more question, then
Code
we
word.
can. Boxy 80s. I actually like this question. Boxy 80s German or 90s Japanese tuner?
90s Japanese tuner. I don't know. I love a boxy car, but I think 90s Japanese tuner, it broadens the horizon so much. You've got so many options
Yeah.
inside of there that it's wild. But don't get me wrong. I mean, a Caddy, a Mark 1, any of them.
Dude.
It's just, they're good.
Yeah.
Oh, E30s. I mean, technically they're 80s.
So I went to Hot Import Nights in like 04.
Yep.
That was fucking amazing.
DCU in Worcester.
No, it was in Boston.
I went to one in Worcester at the
think it
DCU
was
Center.
Boston.
And I don't even think it's a DCU
Convention
anymore.
center.
But
No, I don't think
I don't know. I was so young. I was just along for the
Yeah.
ride. You know, it was like my older friends who had
dude,
cars.
there was an
and shit.
Integra. I don't know, 95 Integra there with a Z3 front end. Like
Yeah.
you'd see the wildest
It
was-
shit at
I-
those.
It was cool. It was so
Yeah,
cool.
I miss the days of front end and rear
Yeah.
end swaps.
There was some
They were
weird
so
shit,
cool.
but like every car, like random ass, like you'd see like a Camry with like a complete West Wings body
Yep.
kit on it, and it was like audio. It was pretty cool.
They have the door cards that are just molded with 20
Yeah.
speakers in them.
And then
Wild.
like
Yeah.
the crazy fast cars were there too, and like girls walking around
yeah.
like just half naked,
Yeah, what-
dancing on stage.
Not to be that guy. What happened to like the car model? Like, remember that was like I watched Fast and the Furious,
car sluts.
and they're at the not so much.
Oh,
Take it easy.
Whoa,
But
whoa.
what's the race wars and like
Race wars,
That was
yeah.
the thing is like the models walking around and like it's not the aspect
It just
of like
evolved
an model.
with
It's just,
Instagram.
dude,
That's
it's-
all
I
that.
guess,
Yeah.
yeah. Now it's all
They
the
all
internet.
have OS.
Yeah, they all-
they all have OS now.
Yeah.
I know that was like the Fast and Furious, like the race wars,
Yeah.
and they're all dancing at night. Like it was
Exactly.
kind of like a nightclub
Prime
vibe.
But yeah, you
time
went
cars.
you go to stuff like that, and yeah, they'd be girls walking
Yeah,
around.
exactly. And I'm not saying I need it or I want it.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying it was like that was a point
It was a
in
thing.
that
Yeah.
year, that span that was like it was a thing. It was it.
But not to get off on a car tangent, because
Mhm.
talking about like the 90s and like, you know, the Hot Import Nights and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
Japanese.
One of the
style.
YouTube channels I bought, Jesus Christ, that
Big
I
money.
watch. Yeah, with all that money I got. There, I guess in Australia it was called like Sex Pick or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Was like the car culture of that style of vehicle.
Yep.
And they bought like an 04 Impreza or something like that that was hot in the scene, like from magazines, and they basically like rebuilt it back up.
Yeah.
This thing is like tacky orange with purple suede interior.
That's awesome.
Like 20-inch chromes on it, with like horrible graphics on the side.
uglier
it
the
was,
better.
But I was watching it and I was like, why do I love this?
Literally.
Well, it's like what I sent in the group chat the other day, like that Cavalier Z24,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the chromes with the
Dude,
Altezza
the thing
taillights
was
and all that stuff.
Such a
It was awesome.
2001 car.
Yeah,
So
it's
good.
awesome.
There
Give
was
me
a
the time capsule.
when I worked at Grapponi, I worked at Honda. Volkswagen was right next door. There was a kid that worked over there, had a 95 Civic 4-door.
Mhm.
It was red with yellow interior. Like it was fully custom redone. It was like yellow and red. It looked like Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
You know, but like,
Ketchup mustard.
yeah, it was
But it's
terrible.
awesome.
But like you look back at it now and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Well, if it's done right,
Exactly.
like well, you know, like if
oh no,
if
every
the
panel in this
panels
thing
are
was
falling
red and
off-
yellow.
Well, if it's like falling
Yeah.
apart, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, because you see a lot of those now where you're like, oh, this thing was modified at one point and it's just lived a crazy life.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the panels are falling off. But that place, the group in Manchester, the green Civic, dude, with
Yeah.
What was that?
God, hold on, Smokey.
Radical Customs or something like that. It was like some car club, and they have
Mhm.
this green and silver Civic.
Altered
and it's
Images.
Altered Images. Dude.
That was because they
That
were a
car.
car club in the 90s.
That was in the park
Really.
down on
Yep.
Elm.
I must have seen it.
Dude,
Dude,
it was
he's
wild.
had that car
Mm-hmm.
since like it might have been older, but at least 2000, because I bought the lowering springs out of it
Yep.
for my 91 SI. So like he's had that car forever.
The Manchester car scene was wild back
Yeah.
in the day.
I was just gonna say it's like a parting gift.
I mean,
Yeah.
like
that's
the days on Elm Street,
Dude,
like
don't
people
even.
flagging the races
I-
down on Elm Street and
So-
stuff like that. The flower shop.
I grew up, and I'm going to touch on this real quick because we're going to be
Yeah.
talking for a half a day now. But grew up in Milford. You guys have already talked about it, the Volkswagen
Yeah.
like, capital of New Hampshire,
Yeah,
which is
weird.
just kind of how
like
I
you
got
guys
into
had
it
a
and
big
all that.
scene out
Dude,
there.
for
Yep.
whatever reason.
Probably
and then
DTM too.
They didn't help, that's for
Yeah.
sure. And then moved to Manchester for a couple years, and for probably 6-7 years, and that's when I really started seeing the cars out every Friday night, cruising the strip, cruising Elm Street or South Willow, or hanging out in parking lots and whatever. And then I feel like when I moved out of Manchester, I didn't come back for a while. Come back to
Yeah.
see you guys and hang out, but
But
like
you,
never.
yeah, there was never.
And within the last like 2 years, I started coming back, semi regularly throughout the week. And I would every once in a while I would get off on South Willow and just come in that way to be like, what's
Take
out?
the
Like,
long
what's
way
going
down.
on? Nothing.
Yeah.
No one's cruising around like they used to. No one's hanging out like they used to. I'm like, that's a bummer. Like,
No, but I think it goes back, like when we were talking about the shows, like when we hung out in Manchester, we were good with the cops
Yes.
in Manchester. Like they knew that there were subgroups of us
exactly.
that were not out there trying to
Yep.
cause hell, start fights, do whatever. But now it's like, what was the last time? It was like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that. They had a meet in Manchester, and like 9 people ended up getting arrested. Or
Literally.
Yeah,
something
because
like
they
that.
all
It's
do
like,
burnouts leaving the fucking place.
I mean, how many nights did we spend underneath a bridge in Manchester in a parking lot for, and that
Dude.
sounds so bad, dude, but
Yeah.
for hours.
As long as you don't wake up there.
Dude,
No.
like I'd leave and then I'd get home and be like, what time did you guys leave? And you're like, oh, we left at like 11:30, 12
Yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Like you
It
guys
just-
would stay there for another 3 people.
and it was
wasn't
the
even.
same group of friends
Yep.
that we'd see every single week,
Yep.
but for whatever reason we did that growing up too. And I'm not going to push it any further, but we
Yeah.
did it in Milford all of our lives too.
Yeah, you
From-
guys had at the plaza across from
we
BK,
did it at
right?
a couple.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it started in the Shaw's parking
Yep.
lot, and then someone came down who wasn't a friend of the group and started doing burnouts and
Yeah.
stuff, and we got kicked out and then moved to Market Basket in Milford for a little bit. And it was all after hours, but we ended up in the Burger King parking lot because the Burger King in Milford's a little sketchy to begin with. But everyone would give us a hard time as to why we're doing it or whatever. It's like, whose parent wants 15, 20 late teens, early 20-year-old people sitting around in their living room shooting the breeze?
Yeah.
No one. So this is the spot. Like, we're doing it
Yeah.
out, and we all have our cars, and it was just always a thing back in the day.
Yeah.
And we kept doing it for how many years?
I wonder if we could bring it back to the dam.
Well,
And like it's been long enough
yeah,
that I wonder if they would try to boot us.
They would
again.
look at it and be like, what are you old
They'd be
bastards
like,
doing
"You
hanging
guys
out?
break
in the
it
park?
down.
It wasn't
You guys
that
have
long
houses?"
ago. It wasn't that long ago. 2018. It was before I got the
Go
Skyline.
home.
So
Al, 2018 was 8 years ago.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
That's
shit.
a long
Oh,
time
I know,
ago, pal.
but like-
don't say that.
But like we were still we were still on the older side. At least I was.
Well,
But
you
like we
always
had a
been,
bunch of, but like we'd have like 30
Doesn't
cars
age,
in
though.
that. Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
We'd have like 30 cars in that parking lot
Yeah.
at like on a Wednesday night.
Playing Foursquare
Yeah.
and just literally
A cop
place
pulled
to
in
hang
one
out.
time and he like pulls through and he's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're playing Foursquare. And he's just like, all right, cool. See you later.
Like
and left.
none of us are drinking. None
Yeah.
of us are like tuned. Nothing. We're
Nothing.
just
We're
grown
not playing
adults
music.
Foursquare in a parking lot.
All the cars are parked around the outside and I brought chalk and I squared off 4 parking spots and we play Foursquare and we'd have a line of people. It wasn't just like 4 of us were playing. There was like a line of 10 people waiting for somebody to get out to hop in. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Some of the
But,
best
but
times.
now it's time to be adults, boys. It's Laura's birthday.
It
We
is.
have, we
Yeah,
have,
we
a,
gotta
we
go.
have a
Happy
dinner
birthday, Laura.
reservation.
Yeah.
So
Thank you
shit.
for letting us do
I think
this.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's getting there. We got time.
I would
but-
like to request that at some point I'll come back on for another
Yes.
episode, and because there's a lot.
yeah,
more
we
I'd
have
love
Yeah,
a
to
lot.
no,
we have a
it's-
lot that we didn't talk
Yeah,
about.
a lot.
There's a lot of stuff.
I don't
but,
think I touched any of my notes in my phone that I wanted to talk about. So
yeah, I got the gist of mine out.
Yeah.
So I'm good. And all right. So what?
yeah.
What?
No, I
Dan's digging
you
his
guys.
phone again.
I was
Forgot
gonna
where
say
he was.
there was one more thing for the news because we were talking about engines and stuff like that. And dude, so Volkswagen just built their millionth EA 8888 motor or something
That's a
like
lot.
that. Yeah.
That's a lot of timing chains.
That's a lot of great.
That's a lot of
of
class
recalls.
action lawsuits.
That's,
Yeah.
that's a lot of job security for
Yeah.
Dan.
It's a lot of gravy over there.
Yeah,
That's
was
awesome.
it million? I think it was. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
we'll
that's
we'll wrap it up.
just cap
Yep.
it at a casual 2 hours and
Hey.
40 minutes.
Yeah, no
It's a
big
dirty
deal.
game.
10 millionth. I knew that number was low.
As Al said, it's a dirty
It's a
game.
dirty
It's a
game.
dirty game.
It's a dirty
Yeah.
game.
Start building VR6s again.
We got to.
Bring
They
them
got to.
back.
They got to start. They got to start producing.
Maybe
again.
we'll get the 5-cylinder in the Golf R. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
hoping for.
Nothing more we want than a $70,000 Golf R.
It's worth it.
I mean, they're 50K now. All right, we can't keep
Yeah,
going.
okay.
All right, so thanks for listening. Appreciate everyone.
Yep.
You
Thank
know,
you guys for having
Thank you,
me.
Ben.
Pumped.
Yep. Thanks for coming, Ben.
Thank
Definitely
you,
have
Ben.
you back, and follow us.
Look out for his truck.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Props to
Yeah.
anybody who makes it through the whole episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you made it this far,
You're a
Thanks.
trooper.
Code words hot import nights.
yep.
Yeah.
And you can follow us all. We'll have I have all the socials up on the end of the page in the description. 3 Pedals Podcast. Well,
Peace.
later.
See ya.
Bye.